riding 11,000 kilometers until we got to Baja. The best paved section I have ever ridden in my entire life.
It's just very untouched. It's rugged. It's very cool.
This sandy desert road with rock and cactus.
This is the Valley Rally Podcast.
Okay, we're back for our second segment, which is the way up.
Yeah, the first one was
our rally point trip was the way down, and
Sure it was.
Lee and Jay rode our bikes back up.
And if you haven't heard that episode, you probably should, right? Because
First.
there's gonna be a lot of parallels between our way up that we won't be covering that we definitely talked about you guys on your way down.
God damn it, you're such a good host.
I work good that
Thank
way
you,
down.
Thank you for
You know what I
coming.
mean?
I am
Lee.
here
Thank
for you.
It's like you do this for a living or something.
Rallyconnex.com.
LeeMartinProductions.com.
So I mean, as
There's
Jay
also
was
a really
saying,
good Christmas video of Lee singing.
oh, you like that?
Yeah.
Which one?
The one when you have like the rockabilly haircut?
That's all of them. Well, no, that's not true. Yeah. Maybe that's why I like these trucker hats.
Can we
They
get
sit
to
up
the
high like a
story,
pompadour.
please?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, back on track.
So here we are.
What was I saying? On the last episode, I said
So
that
you were kind of saying, okay, and this is the plans for coming back because you two had left your motorcycles
for a year
for lack of a better term, the south section of Baja, whatever.
in the
that is.
Cabos.
In the Cabos.
Yep.
And the bikes had been sitting in this Kwanzaa hut type garage that you had access to through a mutual friend from a funeral of your grandmother's, and I don't know, something else
deep.
happened. It was pretty, we all cried.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So I had the plans that I was getting my bike home this year.
Yeah.
And that was the idea. So I think I'd mentioned probably over beers again that I was going to do this, and you piped up and went, "Oh shit, I might be interested in that."
And I couldn't do it because I just couldn't make it work.
Your work schedule was not well. Your
Everything's not well.
that's right.
So there was a bunch of different variables, and I was, the initial story was like, hey man, you know what? Maybe I can take John's bike back if he's not available, and he'll probably be cool with it. And he was, which was awesome. And so the initial plans were we were going to do this big, basically an overland adventure, the motorhome and a whole other lot of stuff. And as always, adventures are they change. So instead of taking a motorhome, basically you flew down with your family about almost 2.5, 3 weeks before I even arrived with Laura.
Yep.
And you were vacationing in San Jose Del Cabo, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So our friend Darren Rideout, who has a...
Oh, who's he? Do I know him?
No, I don't think you do. Not many do. He's not very popular, dude.
Nope. I haven't heard of him.
Has a condominium down there that he shares with his family. And
We'll put the email address for that condominium.
book away, everybody. I mean, I think he basically lends it out to good friends and people that have been there for a while. So, anyways, sure, no problem. You know what? The motorhome thing changed. I've got the place for a couple months for you guys or something like that. So, and then it worked out that I was going to go down shortly after Halloween, or November the 14th or something, and fly in, and then we were going to go on our motorcycle vacation adventure.
Yeah, so we had a bit of a time that we picked up the bikes, we prepped them because they've been sitting for a year,
Yeah.
and they needed tires, air filter, and did they need an air filter?
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. That's for sure.
But we brought them back to the condo, and Darren's super cool. He's like, yeah, bring them back, park them beside the condo, and work away, man. You know, that's what I do, and the people at his condo building are super cool. They love the idea of it too, so worked out good. So that's what we did. We brought them back. We sourced out batteries because the batteries were dead.
And our main goal, really,
Yeah.
was to get up to California on the state side.
Yep.
And then put them on a transport truck.
Yep.
We fly home.
Yep.
Bikes come home.
Yep.
All's good. So I guess we got a big story to tell.
Yeah. Start to finish.
Yeah.
So and just before, like you were just talking about, working on the bikes. I mean, as a traveler, And I haven't traveled a lot of places, but I don't think people explain Baja quite in the way that I should have heard it explained to me in. Mm-hmm. Like my history of Baja is like you guys, and it's always over beers. It's epic. It's epic. Okay, it's epic. Great. So is New Zealand. So is everywhere. It's okay. Well, and then hearing about Darren Rideout when he did the Baja 1000. The riding's epic, right? Well, the riding's epic everywhere, and I never really had an idea. It's just Mexico. That's all I know. I'm thinking about, cartel, and I'm thinking about this and the bad stories and the good stories. But the one thing I didn't realize is when I flew in, how mountainous that whole peninsula is. Like it's big mountains.
It's proper.
Yeah, like these aren't small foothills, and you see it the moment you fly in. So we went all the way down the bottom of the South Peninsula, and as we're coming into land, me and Laura are looking out the window, and we're going, "Oh man, this is going to be good." Like when you get mountains like that, and we could see the trails from the airplane riddling their way through like veins in these hills, going, "This is going to be wicked."
There's good
like
riding.
This is so good. And you don't see the single track from the airplane. You see the roads, and the roads themselves look great. So I was at that point, I was like, yeah, adventure bike is going to be the right machine for me. Mm-hmm. This is where I need to be. So that was like a huge thing. So, I mean, if you're thinking about riding in Baja, I mean, you're going to get an abundance of terrain that you've never seen before if you've never left North
America.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's part of North
No,
America.
it's true. I mean, even
yeah.
the desert in New Mexico and California it's not the same.
Not
No,
at all.
no.
It's
Yeah.
not the same.
So,
I think purposely you did not do any research on Baja because you wanted to see what it was like when you got there.
Completely.
I remember you saying that. I'm like, I'm not even going to look. Don't want to know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I wanted to be a virgin.
and I knew I was in good hands, honestly, because you had been down a bunch of times.
terrible.
John made it down and back.
It's true.
Just kidding, buddy.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? I want this to be a surprise because I've spent so much researching. Like when I went to New Zealand to ride there, it was like, okay, I'm going to look on the internet, and all these
interweb's correct.
all other things, right?
90?
And when I got there, I was like, oh yeah, I saw that on the internet. Oh yeah, I saw that too on the internet. And it doesn't hit the same as that wow factor as like when you can go in completely blind or ignorant or however you want to label it. It's like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know
So-
what, though, Lee? I would say that you could have done all the research you wanted to in Baja, and you still would have been hit with that wow factor. Because I did the same thing, and it's so rugged and so remote that you could take all the pictures and video you want of your entire trip, and you would never like. You'll do your own trip, and you're gonna be like, wow, like you're gonna be blown away.
I guess.
Because
Until you're in it, you don't.
it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah.
Like when you see the
Like when
pictures.
you're,
and
but
then
if
you
you're
get
telling me
there.
about riding coastlines, my only thing I can refer to is like Miami Beach,
Sure.
right? Okay, it's beach, bunch of people,
Yeah.
shit everywhere. But if I had seen the pictures that you showed in the previous episode, I would have been like, oh yeah, there's big bluffs and there's rocks and there's side by sides and there's these palm trees. Like so it was just that was my opinion, and it worked good. Like me and Laura were like, holy shit, man, look at this. This is gonna be real.
Yep.
So and then
So we picked you up at the airport, if you remember. So
Yeah.
we've been down there for 2.5 weeks. We pick up Laura and Lee and Baja 1000 is starting in La Paz.
oh man, we were excited.
And it's an hour and a half north of the airport. So
And Jason's planning was perfect.
it was close to perfect.
We thought we had like a couple days to acclimatize,
Sarcasm
chill out.
in your voice?
Oh, no. He's like, we get off the plane. We gotta go now. So we're in for a 2.5, 3 hour drive
Yeah.
up the coastline
Yeah.
to La Paz.
All right. Well, whatever, minor. But anyways, as we're driving, we picked them up at the airport, and it took them forever to get to the airport. So it's not
Oh,
my
it was
fault.
the worst.
But we, as we're driving there, and they're like the whole time, like, "Oh my god, my god, look at this place! It's beautiful." So we get through. We drive. We stop at a little restaurant in Las Brillas, I believe, and have a little first Mexican meal. It was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, and it's it's more than just the food. Like you can get a taco here that's similar to there, but you know, there's the culture, there's the atmosphere, there's the heat,
people,
the people,
man. Yeah, they're
everything. Like
amazing.
it's a
you know,
complete package.
a dude that doesn't speak English, but he speaks, Spanish, and he's trying to say, your taco, and you know, very quickly you learn, cerveza por favor and all that stereotypical stuff. But
the only one I know.
It sounds funny because we say that, right, and we joke around about it, but that's
how you ask.
That's how you say it.
That's it.
It's pretty cool.
And they do appreciate it when you try.
Yeah, they do.
Like they generally do. Like if you're one of those guys or gals that goes down there and just, I'm going to speak English, and you're just going to deal with it.
Yeah.
And you
totally.
get some service, but it might not be the best service.
Yeah, like
You know what I mean?
Thankfully, I have Christine. That's all I have to say.
yeah, Jason would say it in English, and they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
You just say it again, but a little more assertively.
Sometimes that works, man. Sometimes
Actually,
that works.
it did.
Yeah,
It did.
yeah.
So we head up to La Paz.
To La Paz, to the Baja 1000, and Christine had found us a really cool place to stay that night. Remember? Anyways, we go and check out the Baja 1000. What an amazing environment that
What is
was.
this? I've never heard of this Baja.
It's just a
1000.
little
Right.
race that they do in
Yeah.
Baja.
Is that cool? Like, what is it?
So
Right.
but there's probably a lot of people like I until Jason did it. Jason.
I did not.
Darren did it. I had no idea what the Baja 1000 was. I had
dare
no
you.
clue.
How
Yeah, I
dare
know,
you.
but that's just me coming.
Yeah.
I like my hard enduro stuff, you know.
But there was 150,000 people in La Paz for this.
Oh, I believe it.
This blow off, and that night was like a carnival
Nice.
of everything. You want food, you want beers, you want entertainment. It was unbelievable.
So for those of you that don't know, the Baja 1000 is about a 1,200-mile race through the desert and through all kinds of different terrain that takes you from pretty much the southern point of Baja, California, all the way to what's the end?
Ensenada.
So they flipped it around this year.
Yeah, this year is the first time they went from the south to the north. Normally it's Ensenada, and they'll do a loop, and it's back to Ensenada. Or what Darren Rideout did was rip to the tip, which was Ensenada down to La Paz. This year's the first year they did La Paz all the way up to Ensenada.
And it's the real deal.
It really is.
And when you get riding, we didn't do the Baja 1000, but we shadowed it.
Sure,
for lack of a better term.
and we rode sections of it.
Sections of it, yeah.
Yep.
And there was many times I said to him in the helmet, like on the communicators, going, "Nope, I could not do this."
Yeah.
Like that. Like I put the Dacre on. You know, that's about the hardest thing. That's nothing.
Oh man,
Absolutely nothing.
And it's so long, like
A bit more
1,200
technical maybe, but like so long. Like there would be stretches that we would ride, and it would be the sandy desert road with nothing but rock and cactus for as long as the eye can see. Mm-hmm. I think that's where they came up with the term, like for dog days. You can see the dog walking for days. You know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there'd be a corner. You're like, oh, sweet, fuck yeah, there's a corner, awesome.
Yep.
And this is not everywhere, by the way. This is just the sheer length of this thing. Turn the corner and it goes forever for as long as you can see for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then you'd hit these sections that would last probably a day or two and just be this epicness, twisty stuff. So, I mean, if I were to go back, I know now where to stitch in the killer and less filler.
Yeah.
So,
Baja is the place to ride.
it's cool.
fantastic.
I hate to say it. It is, and
Why do you hate to say it?
well, I guess I don't. But Stephanie was asking earlier, would you do it on an adventure bike or a dirt bike? And I think you have to do it on both.
You have to do them both. It's two different rides.
It is.
Like if you want the experience of the rougher terrain and really getting into the hardcore stuff, then for sure a dirt bike. But if
And
you
they have
want
good single track.
for sure, but if you want to experience, off-road riding, but also experience travel while you're off-road riding, which is a completely different experience, you got to do the adventure bike because you can take that bike in places that you're not going to be able to go to in a taxi or a bus or any other way.
Yeah.
And then you can camp on the beach and do whatever you want. Like if you're bold enough, you can camp in like the most epic spots in the world. Like we kept running up against surfers that were just camping. They had all these spots they knew, and you could just camp anywhere the fuck you want, like anywhere.
Yeah, nobody
like along
cares.
those coasts, nobody gives a shit. Like nobody owns that land. They just camp.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
I think I broke Lee Martin too. He
You broke him?
Well, in a good way.
little
So
bit. On the mountain? Like the
he's
broke back?
No.
So did Montezuma, though.
Yeah. He's an adventure bike rider, but he only rides off road. So to get him like a multi-day adventure riding, I think it took him. He wasn't really set on the idea until we did it, and I think he really liked it, didn't you?
Yeah. I did. I did. It was
Anything longer than a Dacre, he ain't interested.
no. Yeah, no, it's not. Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to bore everybody.
No, I'm
with
bored
my
already.
thoughts of that, but I mean, like, if you know me, yeah, I like to ride off road, and you know, I like putting in a few 100 kilometers here and there, and I've never been a big fan of riding down long stretches of highway or road. You know, my first off, my butt doesn't agree with any motorcycle seat at all for that length of time. And then I'll just sit there and think to myself, oh man, I wish I was in my van, you know, with the tunes cranked, air conditioning on, you know, sitting in a nice comfy seat with shorts and sandals or whatever. And then, but with this trip going up, it didn't change my mind, but I didn't regret it. Yeah, I did enjoy it. And obviously I did it with a friend, and it makes it, as you know, much nicer to do, and it's enjoyable. But anyway, so I mean, all these things are playing through my head when I'm thinking about the Baja 1000 and what these guys endure. So we're in La Paz. We're watching the start.
Yeah, which was epic, and so we stayed there that night. The next day we got up early and we watched the starting line. And these guys are starting in downtown La Paz. And you remember we went down there last year, and you know that boardwalk down.
Yep.
That's
Small
the start
little
line.
two-lane,
dude.
two-lane road down
Yeah.
the boardwalk. Yeah.
And they're doing 100 miles an hour down that.
Yeah.
And
Like-
launching off the speed bumps. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it was epic.
With maybe 10 or 15 feet of space between these trucks or side by sides, and then the crowd. And at points, the only thing stopping the crowd from going on the street is a piece of ribbon.
Yeah, but it was
And a
a
whole lot of
caution.
cops.
It was a caution ribbon,
Yeah,
so
but
it
it's
was
Mexican
safe.
ribbon. It's strong.
Yeah, it was safety ribbon, yeah. Or the steel fence.
Yeah.
You know, like the one you see at Romaniacs or
Yeah.
any event.
It was
So,
wild.
yeah, and these trucks, I love drag racing. I'm a big fan of NHRA and top fuel dragsters and alcohol funnies and all that stuff. And when these were leaving, we were really hungry, and we were just a block up on the hill, and we were trying to get some food at this little restaurant cafe. And for those of you that are traveling to Baja or Mexico, do not expect to walk in and walk out within 2 minutes with a meal.
Nope.
It doesn't happen. You're in for a half hour, 45 minutes of just home cooked,
Yeah.
you know, properly prepared food. That's unless
Especially
it's a
these
cheeseburger.
these little cafe things.
Yeah, but it and it's great. So we're sitting there, we're getting a little impatient, and I hear the first two trucks go by, and they sound like
Top fuel.
not top fuel, but pro stock,
Yeah.
like serious cars, trucks, motors,
And
like
at that
1,000
point,
horsepower.
I don't care about food.
Yeah, and he's left, and this happens a lot with him. He just fucks off. Right?
Weird. It's funny. Like it's like when he drinks too much. He's like he's gone.
Yeah.
Where'd Jason go?
And
I heard noise. I'm like, I'm out.
And I'm hearing this, and it's like, you know, my ears perk up and going, now go ahead, enjoy. I see this once in a lifetime. Here we go.
Yeah.
Maybe. I head down. Yeah. And dude, you're explaining it just right. Like these things are punching off speed bumps. And we saw all the trophy trucks leave.
Yeah.
Or almost all of them. And then after that, it was the side by sides. And then after that, it was slower dune buggies. And then after that, it
Two-wheel
was slower
drivers. Yeah.
side by sides, and then we started seeing the bugs, like the Volkswagen buggies, you know, and stuff, and then right to the end of the line where all the shit boxes come and do whatever they can do. And when I say shit boxes, they look like shit boxes, but they still perform
Oh yeah. They
really
make
well.
them, yeah.
We didn't
bikes were
see
already
the
gone,
bikes.
yeah.
All the bikes left early.
Like 1 a.m.
Yeah, they
And-
got to get ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and not just that, but the lineup alone was probably over a mile and a half long, right? And they're in the hottest day.
Oh, my
Like
God.
32 degrees, you know,
man.
like it's a different heat than here. There's no humidity. It's dry. It's nice. It's bearable. But the sun's pounding down. I could not sit in my bike gear
Yeah.
at the traffic light. Was too long for me. I couldn't imagine lining up. So I think not only to leave them early, but it's just sheer get him out of the sun.
They're not gonna die.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
actually it's a good point that you brought that up, because one of the things that we were always wrestling with the trip down was how to deal with the change in gear. That we're going to need to wear maximum gear
I thought
as
about
we're
that.
leaving down.
Yeah.
And then as we get further and further south, we're going to have to strip down. Like, we're going to have to, like, are we carrying all this gear? Like, what are we doing? And I ended up shipping some stuff back home from New Mexico. And CBSA promptly charged me duty on my own shit, which is fucking amazing. Thank you, CBSA. You guys are fucking doing an amazing job. Taxpayer dollars well spent. Shout out to you guys.
No
And you have to drop it on the
resentment.
show. So at any rate, so that was always a big thing. And then as soon as we got to Baja and it was warm, it was like fucking like I don't need all this shit, like at all. And you know, one of the most versatile pieces of kit that I bought was that Climb Dakar jacket with the zip off sleeves.
Yes, sir.
Fuck man, that's mint.
all I wore.
That was mint.
Yeah, it was great.
It was good.
Yeah, that's another good point. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, think about a trip to Baja or what we did. So we were in November into the first week of December, and I needed nothing more than a
Speedo.
Yes, a Speedo all the way to like.
No, we needed way more than that.
I did bring rain gear, but I never put it on. It was sunny days every day, beautiful. But like, if you don't know what I'm trying to explain what a Dakar jacket would be. It's not insulated. It's not waterproof. The
So like a
sleeves zip off.
Kadura shell.
And a set of great moto gear, like comfortable moto gear. That was it. You know, except when we did get into the very northern part before we just dropped the bikes off.
Yeah.
We stayed up in the mountains and it got down to 0 at night, and then we didn't leave until 11 in the morning until it started getting warm, and it was chilly, but I mean
manageable.
it was so awe-inspiring, awestruck, like looking at all these
It didn't matter, yeah.
It didn't care, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so that Baja 1000 race, man, was just wicked. What a place to start. And yeah, you're right. It was like a midway of everything.
But you guys didn't start from there. You guys just went up there to check it out.
we went and
Yeah.
checked it out.
Yeah.
Then we
didn't
ended
have
up
bikes yet.
we haven't even got the bikes yet. So, but there was a couple cool things. Like we went and we definitely hung out. We experienced Baja. We took them to some of our favorite beaches. We did all that. But one of the cool thing was one night I'm putting Camden to sleep. And I hear, no way, you're where? Like I hear Lee screaming on his phone, right? You're what?
Oh.
That's like 20 minutes from here.
It's not Jeff fucking Pilon, is it?
No,
Okay.
he's everywhere.
Yeah. I thought I'd see him, but we didn't.
So anyways, I get a text, said, don't fall asleep, I have something to tell you. So I put Camden to sleep. I come back out. He's like, guess who's in Cabo? Which Cabo is the town next to us, right? It's just down the road where our bikes are actually stored. I'm like, I don't know. He said, guess. I'm like, I have no idea. He's like, honestly, somebody you want to go meet. I'm like, Chris Birch. He's like, yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
Yeah, that was
Unbelievable.
crazy.
So, no word of a lie. The next day, we jump in the 4Runner. We go over. We hang out with Chris Birch and his wife.
Dude, when I saw those pictures, I was like, you fucking assholes.
So was Darren.
Fuck you
Yeah,
guys.
we take him back to Darren's apartment. We're sending pictures, and Darren's like, "Get him to wear my Baja 1000 finisher thing." I'm like, "Yeah." So, anyways, we had an amazing visit. We took him out to dinner. We hung
Yeah,
out with him.
you guys with the Hangman. Right?
Hangman,
That's
yeah.
me. I'm glad I got you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad I got you guys to in time for that, because I remember thinking, like, I was in bed one night and I'm like, fuck, I gotta tell Lee about Hangman. He'll love that place. 'Cause
Yeah.
the hot sauces are like legendary.
It was.
good.
And I was like, fuck, like I jumped on my phone and I was like, go to Hangman. Like literally that night.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're searching around on myself or Jason's Facebook pages, you'll see that Hangman. I mean, they don't call it. There's a dummy
Yeah,
outside hanging
the
from a
Spanish
noose.
name for it.
Yeah, there's a different name. And anyways, you'll see it. You have to go there. It's great. You have to go to all the
really
places.
good place. Yeah.
But it was neat. Like I knew Chris was in Mexico, but he was on the mainland.
Yeah. He's doing an enduro race on the mainland.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Hey, I was just sitting outside. I'm like, oh, I'll send him a text. How's your trip to Mexico? You know, is it going well?" And he's like, yeah, it's awesome so far. We're really enjoying ourselves. We're at this big resort right now. I'm like, oh yeah, whereabouts? Oh, we're in,
Cabo.
Cabo.
Blah, Cabo,
And I'm
yeah.
like, what? Like, we're in Cabo. And I'm like, no, dude, that's like, we're on the peninsula. Yeah, we're on the peninsula too. I said, well, what do you, thought you were staying on the mainland. Well, Monica, his wife, was like, nah, I kind of want a resort thing. So they just decided to pick up and fly over, and it was
it was great. Yeah.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, honestly though, as nifty as that was, it's hardly the highlight of the trip. Like, it was so much cool
Still
stuff.
fucking cool though.
It
man.
was
Like,
cool.
You know what I mean?
That's Baja Magic. As we're
Baja
getting back to the
Magic,
Baja
yeah,
Magic.
That's exactly.
Chris Birch was
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
Not
anyways,
that if you go to Baja, Chris Birch will also be there for you.
Oh, I
listener.
think he's going to be there.
Oh, is he always there?
Yep.
Available for people. Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it is really cool because me and Jason celebrate our birthdays pretty close together. So he was down there for his birthday, and I was down for mine. And it was a big birthday for me. I only turned 30, and it was pretty awesome.
The Dirty 30.
Okay. Where was the laugh track at that one, everybody?
Yeah, where's the laugh track? But we had gone to Sammy Hagar's
Cabo Wabo.
Cabo Wabo for the night. And if you are a Sammy Hagar Van Halen fan, don't pass that up.
That was
like
fun, yeah.
It is the coolest place in the world. So we had Jason's daughter was also there, Camden. So I mean, the real late nights out with her didn't exist. But I think if I were to go back, I would have stuck around for the band.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy if I just, died right there from alcohol poisoning at that place. I mean, it was so cool. If you're into rock music and that era, then nothing comes closer to it. It's like being at the Gasworks back in the late 80s.
Were you at
in
church?
Toronto. It was amazing, dude.
It was church. Yeah.
Yeah, I was blown away.
You look like you were at church.
It was
It
amazing.
was like a hallelujah church. You're like, oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, did you hear the videos?
Oh, yeah, man. I was like,
was
Lee's
like-
having a blast.
I'm like,
loved
holy
it.
shit,
Yeah.
that's an Eddie Van Halen pillar. Like, that's so cool. And it's the real thing. It's not just some bullshit downtown Toronto.
No, it is
makeup.
the
It's
real
the
thing.
real deal.
Dare you?
Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm like, man, this is so freaking cool. And we're not even on the bikes yet. But I mean, the bikes could have took us there. Look where bikes
Yeah.
can take you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so cool. So,
They might not have taken you there, but they were the reason you were there.
Yep.
yeah, that's a birthday I will. That and a couple others, but that one will stick out in my head for a long time. Even Jason bought me a gift, and it was pretty cool. He got me a little T-shirt, and yeah. By the end of the trip, it didn't fit me anymore. So much beer and tacos.
We need to go on a diet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we after that, it was kind of vacation time. We went south from La Paz after seeing the start of the race. And again, I think the original plan was jump in the motorhome, chase the race, and get to see these trucks hit the desert at 1 billion mile an hour, over the whoops. But it
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out. So we just went back and we vacationed at Darren's family's condo and for almost a week, and it was really nice.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, just warm, enjoyable. And then it was time to pick up the bikes. So we gone back up to your buddy's place
Yep.
that had the bikes in storage. And I don't think we talked about this in the previous episode, but he had a bar that was attached to the side of this, or just around in the parking lot of the same garage where the bikes were stored. And what a wild back in time place. Like this would be
It's
the place.
crazy,
Yeah,
yeah.
like you'd see from like a Porky's movie or something, like
That's a good description.
is it? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and everything was, or Ski School or one of those classic 80s now cult movies. And
There's like paraphernalia everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's cool.
Everywhere. And it
Lateral 22.
it
is what it's
wasn't
called.
a bar made of Lateral 22 is
Yeah,
the name.
Lateral 22. Yeah.
Like
Check it out.
well, in our pictures, there was a picture of the bar.
Yeah.
And there was all sorts of shit, like, I don't know, it's carved into the bar
Oh,
from
yeah.
previous
Yeah.
people. Like, it's
And,
weird.
and if you're one of these sensitive, like, oh, I don't agree with that shit. That's not politically correct. Well, don't fucking go there.
No.
But if you're like, man, I want some nostalgia, it was a place to go. I remember we went in there, and I'm like, guys, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, that bathroom's mint.
Oh, is it ever meant?
Yeah, that picture, like there's like a kid and he's like peeking.
Oh, there's more than that, man.
That's fucking funny.
Where I'm walking to the bathroom, and when I walked to the door, I had to go, but there was so much to look at. I was like, I took a good 10 minutes just to get to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And we got in there, man, and it was nothing but wall to wall pictures of like women from the 80s and the early 90s. It was like, what did they used to call them? Naked.
Pinups.
What's that?
Pinups.
Not pinups. There used to be
Centerfolds.
like, no, they'd have these big like Miss Baja Playboy type things where like they'd be like, just nothing but tits everywhere, like just hanging out.
You can imagine what's in the women's washroom.
Yeah,
Sausages.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sausages.
Didn't you, Laura? Didn't you go to the women's bathroom in there?
I didn't see anything in there.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay.
She closed her eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm in there, and I'm like, wow, I remember these days. And these non-swimsuit, late, I don't even know how to say it, competitions, they were sponsored by Players Light and like Teagate and Corona and stuff. And then I was like, wow, man, I remember those are the pictures you would sneak it from your old man's, like, under his bed.
Sears catalog.
Sears catalog. Definitely not a Sears catalog.
Sears catalog.
Like
Why
it's
are the
something
pages stuck
you
together?
don't want
I
to
like Sears
send.
catalog.
Yeah,
Always.
you
in my
don't
house.
want to send your 12-year-old son in there by himself. Come back and say, "Dad, I saw some wicked shit.
saw
in
some
that
stuff."
Can you explain this?"
It's funny you say that though, because when I went in there, there was
Yeah.
a kid in there, and when I walked in, like he was like maybe like about 12, and he's like, washed his hands like I ain't doing nothing. And he got the fuck out of there right away.
I'm in the wrong.
Like, he'd been in there a while. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I come out and I'm like, man, what a bathroom. Holy smokes. That was crazy. And Jason knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then Laura goes, really? What was so special about it? And Jason goes, it's got some nice artwork in there.
Laura's like,
Accurate.
dirt bike? Some dirt bike pictures in there?
It's fishing, whatever.
Not that Laura cares or anything, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And so we picked the bikes up. And, we're like, oh, man. Jason's already picked up his bike, but we knew that the batteries had gone dead. So he had taken the battery from your bike, and then we wound up buying a new battery, which was a whole fiasco. So if you're taking a KTM down there and you're expecting to find KTM parts, you will not.
No.
You're going to have to be crafty. I think the battery that we went in there would have fit a BMW or a small lawn tractor, something.
Man. But
we got it to get in.
Yeah.
And it was a great battery. It worked good, and,
Yep.
and their parts are nice, and the parts that they do sell over the counter are great. So we got it in, and we started it up, and it was okay, great, runs awesome. This is perfect. Everything's good in the world. And, jumped on. It was only like a 20-minute ride back.
Yeah, it's not long.
Off we go. We come back, and we get back to the hotel, and then it's like, okay, well, when I spoke to you, John, what do I need to do to your bike? You've had this long trip down there.
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing's good. They're
Perfect.
brand new, basically.
And, it was...
Find the pictures.
Yeah, I will.
There
Okay, here
we
we go.
are.
So we knew we had to do oil. We knew we had to do air filter,
Tires.
and maybe tighten a few screws or
Yeah.
something like that, right? So, and that's what we did. And then when it got around time doing the air filter, I don't have them on here, but
I actually pulled my airbox apart and I looked in, and it was the stock from original, from when that bike was bought. It was a paper air filter. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It was dirty, but I pulled it off, and I'm like, oh man, there's a little bit of dirt in the little boot,
Yeah. And then
So I'm
Lee,
wiping it out. I'm like, oh,
Lee sends me pictures.
just a little bit of dirt. Like it was
So
just a tint brown. And then Lee opens up your bike.
yeah, and he sends me a picture. He's like, "Hey man, I
The
got some
Oasis
good
desert
news,
was in there,
and I got some
man.
bad news." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I can tell like there's a picture coming, like it's loading. And then he sends me this picture of my airbox, and it's a beach. There's
it's like a child took a shovel and piled it with full of sand.
I've never seen
And
anything like
the
it.
thing that was crazy about that was
This is on the inside of the airbox.
and
for
I'm
everybody
past the
listening.
filter.
And I'm like, what in the hell's going on? I'm like, how is that even possible? And then he's sending me like progressive pictures of the job that he's doing, and he goes, I found the problem. The fucking bee had gotten into the airbox and just like died on the corner edge of the air filter,
wedged open the
wedged
foam
open
a
the
little
foam,
bit.
and all
Dirt just poured in like as if you were like a time one of those little hour clocks. You know what I mean?
And like how the bee, like where that bee came from, I have no idea. Like
New
was that a
Mexico.
Canadian bee? Was it a
No, it's
Mexican
New
bee?
Mexico.
So at any rate,
I mean, and it's weird too because your bike barely spent any time on the ground. So for how all that sand got in those snorkels was beyond me. But
sand's not like water, right? Like, it doesn't like
it does when you hit it
at
a million miles an hour.
Yeah, easy, Tiger.
I'm trying to find the picture, but you guys are probably seeing it online already.
You
by
don't
now.
have it.
It's pretty wicked.
I'll make sure I give John the picture to upload.
But
It was wild, yeah.
But Kate, I have to say, like, testament to the engineering of that bike and the design. You guys took it apart and looked through all that stuff, and it was relatively clean.
So Lee took the
There it
airbox.
is.
There
Got
is.
it.
Yeah, Lee took the airbox right out of your bike, the snorkels, everything out, and cleaned it. But look at that. That's
I know.
the inside.
It's supposed to be perfectly
Clean.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but fortunately, I think what saved the day was the fact that, and I personally, it wouldn't be my first choice to put in this bike, but the fact that he had an oiled filter, the sand that had passed through had got enough oil on it that it stayed sticky enough to kind of adhere itself to the side, the throttle tubes there, the intake tubes. And then by the time the butterfly opened up, things had stuck to the side and didn't really get a whole lot. Now, we haven't opened the engine up
we're
yet,
gonna
but
have
I
to
mean,
look at that.
it ran.
Yeah.
It
ran great.
and it was strong.
Yeah.
But it stuck to the side, so it didn't allow the sand, the heavy stuff, just sat at the bottom. It stuck,
Yep.
and then
It's crazy.
we still have a live studio audience,
we
by
do,
the way.
yeah.
Anyway, so that was, I think that was a saving grace. The sand was oiled.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank God. So I thought for sure, okay,
I did that by design.
this is it.
That
Trip
was
is
John.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew
And not
that
because of a broken brake lever.
a fucking bee.
A bee, yeah. So anyhow, we did the work. We got it sorted out, and then we went for a ride, and all was good for a few days. But the worst part was I showed Chris Birch when he saw him these photographs. And he was like, "How far are you going with this bike? Where you plan on making it to?" And I was like, "Oh, come on, man, it'll be fine. It'll be fine." He's like, "Yeah, probably. Good luck." So, but it worked out being fine, which was great. And so we prepped the bikes, and then kind of disaster happened. I somewhere along the lines, Laura had wind up probably having some bad water or ice,
Yes.
and she got wicked sick. So it was coming out both ends and very aggressively for probably 48 hours in the night, during the day. It's the one day she'd set the whole day sleeping. And that day was a day we were supposed to go up to Todos Santos and pick up her rental motorcycle that we had planned for our trip. So we were a day down on riding. And then she felt good enough the next day where we had gone up to Todos Santos. And by the way, we didn't spend enough time there. That was a cool town.
Yeah, Todos Santos is cool.
Yeah, and a little tidbit, if you're not aware of this, but Todos Santos is the original location of the Hotel California, the one they sing about.
It
Well,
is.
we have pictures of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, no. Sorry, we didn't take pictures of it when we were on our trip. But when when I was down there with Ride Out, when we took all the bikes that he has stored down there,
Yep.
down for a shakedown, we went down there and we rode up around it. It was closed, but yeah, that's the original Hotel
Yeah.
California. It's
Yeah.
fucking cool.
Very
I got a
cool.
picture here. Yeah.
Somewhere.
But
Was it open when you guys were there?
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No
we
shit.
were thinking about staying there.
Oh fuck, that's cool. Like it was totally
But-
closed down when we were there.
Christine found a way better spot to stay, and some we kind of went after we were there. Like, yeah, we could have spent a couple days there. It was really
Cerritos
nice.
Beach Inn or something. It was called.
Yeah.
That was a good spot.
But anyway, so we pick up the bike, and that was our first off-road mountain pass day, and it was
That was a fun day.
It was awe-inspiring, man.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I
just
enjoyed it.
Unbelievable. So it's interesting because the hills look like the same type of mountains that you would see in like Alberta, but they have this. But there's no trees. There's no snowy caps. There's just this blanket of greenery
Yep.
that goes over them, and it's like I don't know, like a blanket of like bumpiness. Like
Yeah.
it was so cool. And then we would take these road passes, and when I say roads, I'm using that term very loosely. It would not be considered a road here in Canada. It would be a trail. But if you had, which is plenty of overland vehicles there. Like, man, we saw so many Cherokees and different vehicles and Jeeps that rotted out here. And a rarity to find a good looking Cherokee.
Yeah.
Like a Jeep
Well,
Cherokee.
they don't use salt. It's the way to go, man.
Yeah.
But
Or Hiluxes. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Like
they're
everywhere.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that mountain pass. I've done it before a few times, and that was my first real ride on the 1090 in a year. Right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I loved that.
Oh,
thing.
you were horny.
Oh my God.
You were gone within seconds. I went, he is feeling
So
it.
happy.
Yeah, you were.
I
Is
was.
this the trail down to Todos?
Yeah.
You're talking about?
So when
yeah.
you and Rideout rode this and lectured me about driving his car down that.
Well, no, he lectured you. I busted you.
It was
He
maybe
lectured you.
right around this area.
Yeah, no, I
right
have
there.
I have a picture in that exact
that
picture
spot.
right there. I have the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That is so green.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
It
you're
is
saying that. Yeah.
fucking bananas how much it pops because
Yeah.
the picture that I have when we were down there is night and day.
Brown.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful area though.
Yeah. So good.
So, I mean, we only hit like a very small, like 50-foot section of like, okay, we might have to get off the bikes and kind of meander them. And we wound up doing that. And I have been riding for almost a month now at this point. Like usually when I'm done the last event at Rally Connex, I'm spent. I'm packing it in for the season. So we're finally back on motorcycles and
So was this?
Yeah.
I have a question though. In this section you're talking about where you kind of it was a bit sketchy. Was that near Todos or was that near the other end?
About mid.
built mid, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Like was it like you just come over the peak and you're kind of coming back down the other side, sort of
Still
thing?
climbing.
Right in
interesting.
that spot where if you were trying to take a car through here, you would have been like, shit, I have to turn around and go
Is it
back.
like the Toto side or the
Toto side.
Yeah.
Toto's, yeah.
Okay, I know what
You
you're
can
talking
still
about.
see the Pacific behind
Yeah.
you on this side.
Yeah.
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 There was a. I think I know which section you're talking about. It's a little dodgy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Look how green it is.
So nice.
Amazing.
But the riding, so, we've been talking earlier on about, sand and these long, boring stretches. This was not it. This
No.
was beautiful hard pack,
Yep.
easy uphills, easy downhills with just enough challenge for any level of rider to say that was fun. I felt like getting up to this point was an accomplishment. I'm glad to be here. And you definitely... this is a spot that every adventure bike rider should go explore. You'd come down the side of the mountain and then into the valley, and then there'd be this beautiful little creek crossing with these massive boulders the size of your home.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'd cross the creek and you come back up and ride all the way to the top, and you come back down and do it again and up and down. And then sometimes you'd be so now you're in the middle of nowhere for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of riding off road, and you're still off road. And you come around this big corner, and the corners are usually there because there's a slice in the mountain that comes down to a valley where all the water and everything comes down the side of the mountain. And then it would be this big, massive concrete pavement.
Right. Okay. So, pro tip on those.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
pro tip. So when I was riding with
Give
Rido,
it gas.
He was like, okay, listen, man. Like when we get to these pavement sections that are in the road, it's runoff for the water.
Exactly. So
And
it doesn't erode the road.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you need to be very careful. They're super slick. And I'm like, okay, great. No problem. So all the way out to Todos, no problem. As soon as we hit them in neutral, you're very careful. And then on the way back, it's like the first section we hit. And right before a section just like this, there was this, I don't know if I can remember correctly. There was like a car that was kind of like broken down or something, and a couple bikers were stopped to help them. And then so we had stopped to talk to them and be like, "Hey, you guys all right? Yeah, everything's cool. Whatever." I'm like, "Great, cool." So we keep riding, and then it was directly after where these people had all stopped, and I just like I hadn't reset to trail riding mode.
Yeah.
And then so I got on there, and Darren was going through, and I just didn't even I barely touched the throttle, and the bike just went right out from underneath me.
Oh, it's so
And
slippery, man.
Yeah.
I was wearing that Fox armor. It's like a spandex compression shirt, and it's got the armor built in, but it wasn't sitting properly on my elbow. And then as soon as I hit the ground, it just skinned me. And I think I still have the scar somewhere, but yeah, it was nasty.
I had gone through 10 of them already, and everything was fine. But one of the last ones I hit, I just forgot that, and then the whole front of the steering went whoa. And good thing it was only like maybe 2 feet wide.
Is that the first time you dropped my bike?
No, actually,
No,
I think I only dropped
actually,
it.
Back it up
twice.
once. Back up the picture. Right there. He
Just
dropped
before
it.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
right there.
On the brand new brake lever I just
Amazing.
installed.
Amazing. I thought he fixed this.
Yeah. But it was a slow drop. Nothing was aggressive. And that was the thing, too. Like, most of the times that the bike ended up on the ground, and you're probably the same way, is you would stop and be like, oh, shit, I just missed that corner. And you forget that everything off the side of the road or even on the road is pretty soft. And you go to turn, and it's like a snow bike. Like, if you just, you're going to knock it over, right? You got to get on the gas and then get going. So that would happen a bunch of times, you know,
Like,
these soft little turns.
Just like getting back to this picture here.
Yeah.
Laura drove up at like nothing. On
Yeah.
a little 250.
She's twice the ride.
Holy Jesus.
I remember actually I was sitting there in the middle of the picture,
That's right.
And
She's, "Look out."
Laura says, "Hey, can you stop? I just want to get by you." like stop fucking around because you're in my way.
Just going to ride around. You stop for a second. I want to get a picture
It
of
was
this.
her moment to shine, that's for sure.
Well, she's basically as good as
What's
Lee,
that?
but
What's
smarter.
You were spraying stuff with your back tire.
Yeah, I was spraying stuff. Yeah,
In all
that
honesty,
wonderful tractionator. What a tire!
Yeah.
In all honesty, though, like I'm not joking when I say there wasn't that many downs on the way down to Baja. Like all the downs were super stupid stuff. Like the kickstand was in a soft spot, or like the only kind of big one was when I ripped off the brake lever. That was like the proper down. All the other ones, like it was like, okay, you stop in soft sand and the bike flipped over. Like it's just weird little ones like that. And it was not that bad.
So we've now gotten our bikes. We're back at the condo, and like our adventure starts tomorrow or the next day or something. And our goal was to take this section of the Lower Peninsula and tour it. So we were going to make our way back up to La Paz, and then go from La Paz and go around the top and come back through. And there was going to be all these beach slash what did you call them? Those sandy roads that go on forever.
I don't know. But
Coastal line
coastal
roads. and stuff.
roads, yeah.
Coastal roads, yeah. And they were wicked. Like you'd see so much, and yeah, they would go on forever, and then it'd be amazing. And then all of a sudden you'd come out of the middle of nowhere, and there'd be like this little taco seafood shop, and then there'd be people suiting up to go scuba diving on this boat thing, and that to me was like, oh, this is so cool. This is awesome. Like everything is an adventure. And then we had ran into Jason and Christine and Camden, and they were in the Forerunner, and we had passed them, and we were behind because some of the tracks that we were trying to take led us into a lot of those dry riverbeds. Well, they weren't so dry. Like if the sand's not perfectly dry and looks like it's kind of muddy or darker, stay out of them, right?
Stay out.
Yeah, because
yeah.
Jason had told me he saw some stuff that's like bikes buried the handlebars, and that's it. You're done for 2 days. Like you're trying to get this motorcycle out, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So when me and Laura saw those, because again we were following some tracks from Darren, and probably I think some of the tracks were all the way back in 2018, 2019, 17, whatever, right? Bone dry.
Yeah.
It was fine. And then there was a big, huge flood.
2 storms that came through earlier. Yeah. That's
So-
why everything's so green and lush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So that was... so by the time we worked our way around those, and it was quite easy too. Like if you're just following the GPS, and if you buy a proper map for down there, it's pretty easy to find your way around.
yeah.
And the map shows the real Mexico. Like it's not just like, there's lots of beautiful spots, and then there's the spots where some of the poorest people in the country live, and that riding through that section alone was. Not only did I feel completely safe, I had not once in this whole trip did I feel like my safety was in jeopardy, but it was like, yep, I get it. This
It's
is
authentic, man.
This
That's
is
what
it.
you see. Yeah.
This is how.
We rode. So after this is in those salt flatty areas. In the beginning of that, we rode through this fucking village, and it was fuck all. Like
Yeah.
it was a bunch of shacks put together on the beach somewhere, and our track went through their dump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember like talking to Jason on the radio. I'm like, they're fucking laughing at us right now because we're riding through their fucking garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could tell, like this is where they toss all their shit that they don't want, and we're riding right through it.
Yeah.
They're probably laughing at us.
Yeah.
But I mean, and not only that, the other poor village was in that dinosaur valley. Like that village is in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And when we rode in there,
Nowhere.
they're looking at us like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
here?
like this isn't Baja 1000 yet. What are you doing here? You're
Yeah.
either really late or really early.
So once we got on our venture, Jason's wife pretty much took charge of finding the places to stay and all the stuff. And we found she found some beautiful spots along the way.
Well, that's bullshit. You guys had a fucking tour agency, like
Pretty
setting
much.
out your accommodation. We had to
Yeah.
go find it on our own.
I know. It was
Terrible. I'm gonna have a talk.
pretty lucky that way. So we stayed at some really cool spots. And the one thing that was interesting, except for maybe a couple places, but majority of them, you would roll into these towns or these areas to stay at what's supposed to be this beautiful, like palm tree, gorgeous layout, Smurf village, magical shit, right? You pull into town, it'd be a complete shithole. You'd be like, oh my God, we're staying here. Like there's a dead dog there, and like over there, there's like you know, Mama Senorita is trying to sell empoladas on the side of the road with a bunch of dates, like it was just really like weird. And then all of a sudden you go turn a corner, and then you see this. Like here's a picture of a school bus that's buried in the flood in the river, and other cars and trucks just completely rusting away, or well, nothing really rusts over there, but. And then all of a sudden you'd come across this little gate, you'd roll in, and it'd be a total oasis. Like, wow, this is beautiful. These little pools in the middle, and cabanas and hammocks, and the other thing, and Jason will contest to this once he's done taking a leak in there. Good timing, Jay. Hey, don't forget to wash your hands. Should I get that pee sound effect back on here? Anyways, I'll keep going. Yeah, we can edit that in post. The people were so friendly.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Hi, how are you? We're so happy to be here." And I'm not just talking about the people you're giving your money to come in.
Right.
People right off the side of the street.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of it too might be contested to the fact that, like I said in the previous episode, we're on motorcycles. They treat us like
different.
we're superheroes.
But you know what? Like, so I've had this conversation with Jason before. It's no secret that I've traveled a lot, and the
Have you ever been to Italy?
Italy? Yeah.
No, I've never been there. Is it good?
It's amazing. I think if we can find someone that's been to Italy, they could tell us all about it.
But that's been my experience. It's like you get to these places where you think it's super dangerous. You have all these preconceptions, like, oh my God, like it's sketchy, like Thailand, or you go to Mexico, or like those are two places where people have a lot of ideas. Like there's a lot of sketchy shit that goes on there. And when you get there, the reality is further. Like it couldn't be further from what you like. The truth is, it's completely safe, and people are fucking legitly cool.
Yeah.
And you don't like if you want to get in trouble, you can get in trouble.
Sure.
But you have to-
anywhere in the
but
world.
you have to be looking
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
If you're not looking for trouble, it's not going to find you.
Well, again, I don't want to, say anything that's going to get anybody weirded out. But
late.
there was
Too
Jason had told me some stories about you when you guys were going down, and when you did cross the border type of thing. There was a moment where you're like, "Hey, man, head on a swivel," and you're like that anywhere where you're brand new.
Yeah.
Sure.
You're like, "Hey, like." Let's make sure there's no banditos.
Well, until you get the lay of the land and you kind of get the feel for the place, you need
Yeah.
to be aware and cognizant. And that,
Yeah.
and I don't advocate for not being that way in any way. Since
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you should not go somewhere because you think it's not safe.
Right.
Like just because, like, oh, Mexico, there's a bunch of fucking crack dealers and drug dealers and all these things. Okay, mainland's a bit different than the peninsula.
I would imagine.
For sure. I understand that.
Especially in the bigger cities.
100%.
Yeah.
But we also know lots of people who've traveled through mainland Mexico in recent times and have been just fine.
Yeah.
So if you go looking for trouble, you will find it.
I don't know. I've never not felt safe in Baja.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, Baja is...
I think what Lee was getting at, because I told him the story about your bank card. Remember?
Oh, fuck yeah, man. That was legit. We didn't cover that.
No. You want to share that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So I can't remember which fucking part of the
We're
town.
near Ensenada.
We weren't far. We weren't far from. We weren't in the groove yet.
Nope.
And I was at we had stopped at it was like a busy, like industrial type town. That guy's still fucking there.
Yeah,
He's still there, man. Yeah,
Sorry, we're looking at pictures, and it was like anyways, we'll talk about this in a second.
Yeah.
So anyways, like a busy little town, and there was a ATM, and we're like, let's get some cash. And so we'd go in, and I've been lecturing Jason about, yo man, you gotta keep your head on a swivel, make sure you fucking keep your shit tight, blah 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 blah. And then I fucking leave my bank card. Like, I don't know what the hell happened
In the machine.
I left my bank card in the machine. I grabbed my cash and walked out. And I don't know if I was sleep fucked or what, but anyways, we're about to roll out, and this dude in a balaclava, because it's cold for them, right? So they're like wearing shit over their faces like they're commandos. He comes up to me, and I'm like, yo, dude, this fucking guy coming up to us. Be careful. Watch your six, kind of thing. And this dude's like, hey, senor, you left your bank card in the machine. Here you go. Like, stupid gringo.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
You did. Yeah. He was. That was our first taste.
That
of
was like the
Baja.
wake up call.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's not as scary as you think.
We're in good
dummy.
hands here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something else that was interesting too, and so before we left for a motorcycle trip, me and Laura went out and said, "This is the time we're going to go buy all of our like souvenir shit, like our tchotchke and all that stuff." So what I mean by that is like, we're going to buy our Mexican blankets, our painted skulls, the Day of the Dead type stuff, and all that really neat
Are
shit.
you a haggler?
Once I figured out that's what they were, I was like, yeah, now I'm going to pour it on. Yeah, because I'll start speaking.
Do you have fun with them?
A lot of fun.
Okay.
Until
you're not the asshole who's like, I ain't fucking paying that.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
No.
that's good.
No.
That's
I'd
good
be
talk.
like,
I like that.
well, that place over there, and then all of a sudden, oh, senora, no, it's 20 pesos, 20 pesos. And
Oh, yeah.
It's like, no, 10 pesos. Like just until they finally got to as low as they want, right? But we're backtracking here now earlier to the trip, but we stopped by this one shop in this little village that sold, it was nothing but souvenirs. And there was at one point where I said to Laura, I said, you know what? I think this is like when the Americans come up Niagara Falls and they see all of our Canadian shit over on the Niagara Falls side for sale, like the keychains, and the fucking moose, and the maple leaf syrup candies. And so, anyways, we're about done purchasing everything, and we go, this one guy's like, hey man, come on in here, hey. It's a total like Cheech and Chong type sounding dude, right?
Biker.
Come on, man, get in
The
here.
biker dude.
He's like, hey, what are you doing here in Baja, man? I'm like, oh, we're going motorcycle riding. We're really excited. We're going to leave in a couple days. And, oh man, you should see my baby. I got a chopper. Yeah, nice bag, nice bag. I'm like, seriously? Yeah, come check it out, man. So yeah, come on, man. Like that, right? I'm like, holy shit, this is a Cheech Moran. So we and he's pouring it on because the dude's from Los Angeles. He was a total like it started like it went from hey man, to like hey dude, what's going on? It changed, and he shows us the bike, and it's a really cool chopper. It's got white wall tires, red rims. He promptly showed us how loud it was. Like he would get on it, just fired it up, and the engine was cold. Like he'd been there for like 4 or 5 hours. Like the fucking town, and the kids going, oh, what's going on here? And they love their motors. I love like Baja is like if Americans have their football and we have our baseball, and the Europeans have their soccer or their football. Baja, Mexico has their motorized vehicle stuff like trucks, bikes,
they love
ATVs,
motors,
like, motors. It's all, if you're a motorhead, you go there. So the guy's like, yeah, man, this is my bike, man. So what do you ride? How much horsepower? And I'm like, well, I'm on a 1090. It's about 125, 130 horse, and he's like, oh, man, it's a lot, eh? Oh, man, yeah. It's like off-road. I'm like, yeah. There's like this 10-foot wall, or maybe not 10, or like 8-foot wall, prime for just popping off of landing on the road and kind of keep going. So I could probably jump off of that. And he's like, holy shit, man. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, you guys got to come back down, come in my shop, look around. So he's like,
Hey, who are you? Like Chris Birch or something?
So we go into a store and he's like, hey man, I've got all the like finest tequilas in Mexico here. Hey, like this is it, man. You guys should try some. And then Laura promptly screws this all up. And she says, well, you know what? It's his birthday today. Oh, fuck. So it's like, no way, man, your birthday. We get you big shot of tequila.
Odale.
I mean, this is a pint glass of tequila this dude gives me. Oh, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Like sweating.
Yeah, and so and just before he pours this big glass of tequila, that I gotta shoot this. Like,
This explains the behavior at the fucking Sammy Hagar.
oh yeah, it started early.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he just finished saying because you've been using the term gringo a lot, and so I was like, yeah, man, like you guys got this name, like you have gringos for us, man. He goes, nah, man, the gringos, you're not a gringo, man. Gringo's American. You're Canadian, man.
No shit.
No shit. Yeah, and I was like, oh, now he's put this big sense of pride in me, like I have to be the Canadian.
Shoot
What a
that
fucking salesman.
tequila.
And I just finished telling the guy I'm going to jump off a fucking 10-foot wall with my adventure bike. Right? So, and he's like, boom, there's the tequila.
Show me your cojones.
So
Cabrón.
I start throwing this tequila back, and it's in my mouth. The glass is empty, but it's not down my throat. And it just tickles my throat to the point where I just about spit the whole thing out all over this beautiful store. Like the nicest store. Marble floors, perfect, everything.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got a buddy. What was his name, Laura? The other guy's name? It was Felix. Yeah. Frank and Felix. Anyways, so I'm sure they're not their real names. And I get it down. But maybe just a couple little drops hanging out of the corner of my mouth, right? I get it down. And he's like, yeah, man, right on, dude. And the accent went away, and he turned into this totally different
American.
guy. And he's like, so where are you going to next? I'm like, oh, well, we're looking for somewhere to eat. I got a place, man. I own a place just up the hill. And then as soon as he said, I own this, and I own this, and I own this, and they had this tequila shop, and he just kept giving us free drinks, I went, okay, this is a connected dude in the industry.
Oh, yeah.
Now I
Good
got to
dude.
start thinking to myself, this could be one of the guys you don't want to be an idiot in front of.
Yeah.
So we went to his restaurant, and we get in there, and the place it wasn't closed, but it was in the middle of the day, and it's also a market, and it's all things, all the stuff. And we go in there, and the girl kind of comes up to us, and she's not overly warm, but she's like, hi, what can I help you with? And I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, Frank sent us. Oh, yeah, right over this way, sir. Like, well, can we sit way up there in this crow's nest? Like, you can oversee almost half the town. And like, yes, absolutely. Meanwhile, you can totally see in her face, I have to fucking walk up these stairs and serve these guys over and down and over and down. And we're the only ones in
Frank
there.
said you have
But
to.
yeah, Frank's in there. So we're up on top, having a great time. We shot a video. It's saying thank you, for all the birthday wishes and shit. And we're having a great time. And it was really good. But Frank definitely got his money back because that meal, that lunch of like 4 tacos and a couple of drinks is about 120 Canadian dollars we wound up spending for it. Yeah, but it was
Worth it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So that was my downtown
San Jose.
experience of the culture and of the
Where was
people.
this in San Jose?
Right, not far from the brewery, actually.
Yeah, right by
Interesting.
Baja Brewery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The restaurant was just the next block up the hill.
Yeah.
From Baja Brewery, which was another killer place. So
Yeah, Baja Brewery is cool.
as much as you want to stop and see the scenery, you got to go check out the culture and the life and everything's like, even some of the really rough looking places me and Jason hit on the way up the coast coming home were still really cool
Such a good.
and safe and fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I'm trying to remember where I left off, but we were
So after your birthday, how long before you guys hit the road?
not long,
Weeks.
a day or two.
A month.
Oh, between me and him?
Yeah.
Oh, like a week at least. A week
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
half. Yeah.
These guys did a little loop, like we did a trip north,
Yeah.
and they did a little bike loop, and then we came back, we situated ourselves, and then got the girls ready, took them to the airport, and then we took off on our bike trip.
So I
But
heard about
before
it.
that,
Okay.
sorry, The one thing I
But
want to say
before
is
that,
and you can see the video on our webpage, but when me and Laura were coming back down.
nobody cares about that beach run.
Oh, yes, they do. We hit this beach run of this glorious white, sandy, perfect, like groomed
wants to hear about
beach.
that.
Nobody cares.
And we were on it for at least
ran naked
17
down the
miles. Felt like it. It was that free. And I mean, we were like, the waves would come in, the waves would roll out, and the waves would come in.
They do
and
that.
We were going back.
I was
and
driving a
stop it,
Forerunner.
stop
I
it, you
really
two.
don't care.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, and that beach run was just glorious. Like it was.
And so where was this? Was it like East Cape area? Or?
This is on the
No.
Pacific side. It was,
North of Todos Santos.
Okay. Yep.
yeah.
So they left La Paz.
That's right.
It was my recommendation. You guys take that.
No.
So we're clear.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it
Actually,
was anyway,
wasn't.
yeah.
I had showed you on the map that I think
Jason
this
just
is a
had
cool
a really
spot.
bitch face look on his face when he was
Yeah.
saying that. Too.
I was like,
Like,
we
wow.
should do this.
Are you blonde secretly? Like, what's going on?
And then I said,
If I had
Jason,
hair.
I'm totally going to hit this long stretch of beach on the way back, Lori. And then he goes, oh yeah, you should do that. And which turns into him saying he recommended the whole thing. So that's pretty much how it plays out.
Technically, he's right.
No, I was right. I totally
He did
recommended it.
recommend it.
But it was phenomenal. Like man, it was so cool. And then, and it wasn't type of the sand that you would struggle in. It was just nothing but perfect, soft, flowy, big GS turns back and forth. And it was at that moment where I said, this is just like snow biking.
Okay, so again, nobody cares.
Okay. So anyways,
Harsh.
but what was really neat
Getting
was
deep.
there was a point where I was looking down. We were going a good
Sounds too
100,
good. I don't wanna
120
hear it.
kilometers an hour down the beach. And there would be these little crabs. And it's just like,
SpongeBob?
kinda, where they would run sideways, like they wouldn't run straight on sideways with their little antennae eyes, and these little fuckers were
They
fast.
move, man. Yeah.
Like I could not catch one, and I'm going 100, and it goes running right across in front of me, like a squirrel darting across the road, but they don't stop, and they tear off, and I guess they got to be quick as birds. You said, like obviously,
Yeah.
they're getting killed
Into a
from
hole.
birds. Yeah, and then into the water they'd go and disappear, and we'd see it the whole way, and we're laughing. Hey, Laura, like we're just laughing the whole time, going, "This is epic." We would never do this anywhere else that we know of. So
Yeah, the squirrels don't run in the lakes here.
no. So but it did take that shitty, sandy 2-track, like rough, hard to ride through trail for maybe 5 minutes. And then you're on this glorious beach.
Yeah.
And
again, nobody cares.
why are you like that? Why are you being like this? Do we have to have a session?
Cut.
Now we're back, folks. Jason's had a long stretch on the couch, feeling better.
Yeah, no, I want to hear more. Actually,
Yeah,
that's great.
I thought so.
But
So
that's,
anyways.
that's the beauty of Baja,
Yeah,
right?
it
It's
is,
like
yeah.
you struggle for a little bit and you get these massive payoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And it's funny you say that because I like with our events, the OVR
It's
and
just
then the Rock
struggle.
Hound. It's no, but there's we have those payoffs, don't we?
They're not as big as Baja's payoffs, but yeah, we
Pretty good for Southern Ontario.
for sure.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's all relative. But yeah, we understand the pattern.
Yeah.
We understand the value of that, where you need to, you do your big struggle, you kind of have a challenge, and then at the end of that challenge, you need to have a payoff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not really worth it
Well, this was the payoff,
unless
man.
you're sadistic.
Yeah, and I showed Jason the video over and over and over.
That's why I don't care anymore. Anyways, we haven't
So
even
we-
talked about our ride. North.
No, well, we finished our.
You
well,
guys
we
left.
rode.
Like, what's
anybody
going on?
else notice that? And I'm like,
Yeah, but sometimes I know it's all about
This
the
is an
ride,
hour of preamble.
but it's like you're down there to see the culture and their
yeah,
surroundings.
Baja's okay, but the riding was pretty epic.
So at this point in time, we're about to leave on our ride, and everything is hunky dory, right, Jay? Mm-hmm. And the girls are on the plane; they've flown away. You cried quite a bit, but
Weeped more, like as a weep.
so I'm going to start with this, and then you're going to say the rest of the story. We got to our first stop, and I was hungry,
You were hungry for
and
seafood.
we had been. Did we off road? We off roaded a bit.
No,
No.
we highwayed it all the way past La Paz as far as we could because that was a late start.
Oh yeah, because we had ridden a lot of that fun stuff in the
Yep.
south. Yeah. Okay. So now we get to our small little town, and it's for lack of a better term, it's very flat, no mountains whatsoever. So
No.
complete change and very industrial.
Very.
And take it away, Jason.
Let's get some seafood.
Oh boy. So yeah. So Lee was definitely in the mood for seafood, and I'm not a seafood guy if anybody knows me. And so we're in this little town. It was about.
Would it be off base to say your spidey senses were tingling a little bit?
Oh Lord.
Mine
They were definitely tingling. So we were in this town about 2 hours north of La Paz. I can't remember the name now, but it is a very industrial
It was
place.
something like Continental, or it had some sort of big fancy.
Yeah, it was a great place.
Yeah.
but
Not really.
anyway, so we roll into this cool motel, which I can't remember what it was called. Oasis. It wasn't the Baja Oasis, but something Oasis.
Hotel Oasis.
Yeah.
That's original.
Yeah.
It's original.
But it was really great, Anyways, we roll in, and as we're just getting ready to go for dinner, we see two more dirt bikes roll in, and so we chat with these guys. Again, a little bit of Baja magic. We had a good chat with them. We walk downtown, and we're looking for a restaurant. We find this one place, and it's a really cool spot, seafood, and Lee was definitely looking for seafood that night. So we jump in, and they can't speak a word of English, nothing. Like not hi, nothing, So we're trying to translate. Lee's doing the whole buck, 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 buck for chicken, moo for beef.
I
He
was.
Yeah, no, he absolutely was.
My
yeah.
God, like just learn some words, guys.
We had some, but it was even one point where I'm just like, okay, now I've asked for fish. She understands fish. Like globe, 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 right?
Yeah.
Like a little handy
Yeah.
wave fishy thing.
This
And
is
it's
how
like,
this is how it started, and no wonder how it ended. But
I think they poisoned you on purpose.
yeah.
it's like, and is the fish raw? And this is in
Yeah.
Google Translate. And she just looks at me and does that so sign.
Yeah.
Like this, right? So I'm pretending like it's on a skillet, like I'm flipping
Yeah,
the fucking eggs.
frying it, man.
It's like, is that it? Oh, you want fried fish? See, okay, great. So
Yeah.
now he's trying to figure out what the fuck he wants.
So I like, do you have anything besides seafood? Just say, and
Beef.
again, we're Google translating because we can't speak.
Moo.
Yeah, and she's like, nope, 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 nope. I'm like, whatever. So give me at that point it was Tecate. So I had a beer, and off she goes.
oh yeah,
Right? And she comes back with a phone, and on the phone it says,
Wait, where did they have to go for the Ducati?
oh yeah, to the liquor store.
To walk down the road.
Yes. This is a good choice.
Yes,
This is a
They
great choice.
No, I'm like, I think she just walked out to go get our beers.
Totally
Mint.
did.
And she did. So we watch her. She walks and she comes back and she's got it in, like kind of hiding it, selling it for a lot more than she just paid for it. But anyway, so she comes to me with this phone and says, I might be able to make you a burger. And my first reaction was, fuck you. The second reaction was, yeah, sure, why not? How about getting a burger be?
Cheeseburger.
Always
Yeah.
go with your instincts, brother.
Oh.
So before he gets it, I'm thinking to myself right away, going, "Oh, this is a bad idea, man. Like this is a seafood place. The fact that they could say maybe make you a
be able
cheeseburger
to make you
might
able
be
to,
able to-
yeah.
like it's like he's going to get food poisoning from this, but." Jason will look at it and he'll know better and he'll make the right decision. But I think it's going to be okay. And there was one brief moment where I was just about to, we were looking at each other to stand up and say, nope, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
it
stand
was
up and
close.
walk
Yeah,
out of here.
Yeah, yeah. But then,
But we had already done all this fucking Google translating
And-
shit, so we were invested, right?
and our biker buddies from our motel has showed up. And so they sat down, they had some beers, and they had to go get more out of the liquor store or whatever they go to.
Unannounced to us, they could speak quite fluently in Spanish.
So we had a really good chat, and it turned out they
You guys
were
ordered
going.
the fucking burger? Oh.
No, nobody did that for me, unfortunately. But anyway, so I like in the midst of talking, I'm just eating this burger, not really paying attention to it, and we had a really great chat with these boys that are staying in the same hotel, and they're actually doing on dirt bikes. They're doing a loop to, what was it, Verde? What was it?
Yeah, no one cares. The
Yes.
first bite of your burger, you knew right away, right?
I did.
This
Ish.
isn't right.
Ish.
And he smashes this thing back.
Oh, shit.
I did eat it. Oh, yeah.
Why?
It's just
¿Por qué?
it was a long day of riding. Anyway, so we were gonna ride with these boys to Verde, what Grande? What was that place called?
Really epic beach.
Anyways, a really epic
Shit
beach.
your pants grande.
But we were going to ride the back roads, and they told us that there's a section that will never get our adventure bikes down. It's epic.
Oh, we've heard that before.
So I went, well, there's 4 of us. Will you help us if we get to that point and we can't do it? And they're like, yep, for sure. So
Wait, let me guess. You helped them get their dirt bikes.
no, the story. I wish
his
we could
fucking
do
dreams.
that, man.
Yeah.
So the story goes, this is the plan. So, anyways, so we were gonna wake up in the morning. The one dude had a flat. I ate that burger up really good. Anyway, so the one dude had a flat. We're gonna get up in the morning, fix his flat, and off we go. We're gonna get to this point, and he was gonna help us through, and then we're gonna ride with them. It was gonna be pretty fun and epic.
And
Well,
then 2:00 in the morning.
That
came.
night, oh man, I ended up on the toilet all night long, puking, pooping. It was the worst food poisoning I've had in my entire life.
For a long time.
No.
They're probably like, I don't know how to cook a burger. How long do you cook a beef?
I
only cook a seafood.
And the truth is, I don't think it was beef. I don't know what it was,
Yeah,
but it was definitely bad. So I get up.
Somebody's dog.
I'm laying in bed, and I have this lump in my throat. The burger's just right there, it's not. It hasn't actually gone in yet. I'm like, that doesn't feel right. That's something weird there. So I'm laying
this
there.
isn't 12 hours later like regular food poisoning. This is like
immediately, man. It was right after, and I
You're
had
alive.
bragged. I had bragged like weeks or a few days earlier that I don't puke. It doesn't matter what you do to me, I can't puke, and I'd said that. So I'm laying in bed with this in my throat, thinking I'm gonna puke.
I'm thinking to
That's
myself, I'll show you.
That doesn't work. So I get up and I go to the toilet. I'm like, oh man. And Lee's sleeping. It's a motel room, right? So he's sleeping in one bed. I'm in the other.
Sleeping is
Yeah, mild. Yeah, mild.
Exaggerated.
Yeah. I go into the bathroom and I'm looking at the toilet. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna puke. This is happening.
Listen, buddy, it's nothing personal.
I felt so fucking bad. Man. I was like, I have done this to my friend.
Ruined the trip.
Totally.
Oh, and he did. Anyways, so yeah, it was all Lee's fault. So anyways, I'm looking at the toilet. I'm like about to puke, and then it just all of a sudden shoots to my rear. So I'm like, oh god. Flip around on the toilet. It all shoots out in this massive stream. It comes flying out of me. And as it's doing it, I'm like, I'm about to puke. So I grab the waste bin that's beside me and I throw it in front of me. It's coming out of both ends.
I'm gonna have to put a graphic warning on this.
It's a good one, man.
Luckily,
Hold on, I think I have a picture. Wait.
Luckily, you can edit this. Yeah, bring the picture up. Anyway, and then as this is happening, I'm like, okay, no, it's okay. I wipe real quick. I turn around and then I throw up like mad in the toilet. Oh my god, it was a bad scene. We didn't make that ride the next day, by the way.
No.
You fucking pussy.
Oh, man. I woke up and I'm like, yeah, you're not right. Yeah. So I text the
Were
guys.
you
I'm
fine?
like, yeah, I was fine. Yeah, I and my meal looked
Seafood's
terrible.
the way to
You
go.
should have had some
I had
shrimp.
fish on a plate that was blackened. The
Shit.
head was still there. Eyeballs are dripping out of it. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll eat it. I guess it's okay. I was fine.
Better than the burger.
But I did get sick earlier that week, with Laura. But I just had bad diarrhea for 2 or 3 days, 4 or 5, 2 weeks, a month. I don't know. A long time. A long
Seems
time.
like forever.
I think I just took a normal shit yesterday.
So
So
for
now-
the listeners,
Yeah.
I did not get sick like that
Yeah.
while I was in Baja.
It's weird. I didn't get sick the entire month I was down there. It was that one bad burger.
At
And
the
it
seafood place.
messed me. man.
Martin shows up
lesson
and our
learned.
hell breaks.
Do not order a burger at
no.
a seafood
Don't
place
do
that
it.
doesn't normally serve
No,
burgers.
Don't do it. And especially if
Pro
it
tip.
says in Google Translate, I can probably make you a burger.
I
Yeah,
might be able
no.
to cook you a burger.
So pretty much from
The
there
answer
on,
here is no.
the only thing he ever
caveat
had.
that it was like I might be able to cook a burger.
Yeah. You know what? They failed the cooking part.
Right.
Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
said
They
might.
got me a burger.
They were wishy-washy on that.
Yeah.
Pretty much after that, he ate nothing except unless it came out of a bottle that was sealed or a
Cracker.
chip bag.
Man. I
Yeah.
ate crackers and water.
Are we
for
still
the rest of
rolling,
that
by the
trip.
way? Is this working?
absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So the next day, and I have to say this is another great story. This is blow people's mind on how different parts of the world operate from where you're used to. And I'm pretty sure anyone I'm talking to, unless you live in Mexico, is like this. So the next day, it's noon. Jason's not doing well. And I'm thinking to myself, we don't really have an agenda, but if he doesn't get better soon, this trip is going to go way too long into December. Christmas is coming. Like, I didn't have the money really to be sticking around for days and days and days. And man, he made me pay for a lot of shit too.
Hey, easy.
So I run out and I go to a pharmacy, and I'm using Google Translate again, but it's working a lot better this time around. And I'm like, hey, my friend has food poisoning and bad diarrhea. He's throwing up. So I need something to make him better fast. We have to leave on motorcycles.
Tequila.
Yeah, that's probably what saved my butt, was from all that tequila I had. I killed anything that was in my stomach. But anyways, and so like, you buy this, try this. And I'm like, okay. But if you're really unsure, the next pharmacy up the road has a doctor on call, like a real doctor. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I think I'm going to go talk to this. I'm going to see if I can just ask the doctor what he would recommend for an over-the-counter type thing. Never in my million years I think I'd ever get a written prescription. I go in, I talk to the doctor, I tell him the exact same thing. He writes me a prescription for my friend, my friend, in quotations, right?
We're not friends at this point. Yeah.
In the hotel room, dying of food poisoning, probably E. coli poisoning. It was wicked.
For sure.
And we need to go. And he's like, okay, no problem. In many different ways, we figured it out what he said on Google Translate. He fills out the piece of paper that's pretty much chicken scratch, and walk over. The good thing that the pharmacy knows his handwriting.
Yeah.
Hand it in, and now they're walking into the back. And they're mixing medication and making this vial of potion for Jason and stuff like that. And they're trying to tell me in Spanish, like, okay, this twice every 3 hours, this and this and this. And I'm writing. I eventually get back. I'm like, Jason, I can't believe this, man. I talked to like a legal doctor and got a prescription for you.
Just drink the whole thing.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I hope it.
Oh, I think it helped.
It helped.
It
yeah.
must have, yeah.
So it's the least I could do for making him go to that stupid restaurant.
That was definitely your fault. Anyway.
Well, we head out 2 days later. We don't do the pass because the guys had texted us back that we were going to go riding with. They said in capitals, do not go here. So and we told them, like I showed them pictures of us, doing Chris Birch type stuff with our adventure bikes. So we said, we're pretty
Competent. We're
okay.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, no. Not this. Like this was an insane amount of bulldogging down 45 degree
And they're
slopes
on dirt bikes.
and they're on dirt bikes. So we're like, okay, this is probably not right. But so we skipped that section out to go down there and come back was the goal. And then we started our next pass, and this is where things got just epic.
Oh, it was great. So we actually the next day, as I'm recovering with this potion that Lee brought me back, we're sitting in a motel room with his laptop, and we're looking at the tracks and what we can do. And we were watching YouTube, and there's a dude that went to San Jose and said that you have to go here. If there's any place in Baja you have to go, it's here. It's the oldest mission in Baja. Go there. So we looked, and I'm like, oh shit, that's where me and you almost were last year. Mm-hmm. And so we started piecing together tracks that went from whatever, Highway 1, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
Up to San Javier through the back trail. So we really wanted to go there. So it gave us that day to plan out what we were going to do, which was great. Anyway, so we get on the bike the next day. I'm not feeling great. Haven't eaten, but not bad. Feeling alive, kind of ish.
Yeah.
So we start heading out, and I'm leading, and we get onto the first off-road, and we start heading up, and it's this shale rock climb, and I'm like, oh man,
It's a tiny bit sketchy, but
a little sketchy. It wasn't terrible,
it
but
could get worse.
Yeah. So we're riding, and we're going up, and I'm like questioning my ability because I'm not feeling great. And anyways, we're riding up, and we get to a section, and there's a guy with what would it have been?
It was a Jeep.
A
Cherokee
Jeep
or
of some
something.
sort, and he's making himself breakfast, and he's like,
Proper
"Oh,
overland
yeah."
vehicle.
Yeah, like off-road, big tires, tent on the roof kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going any further. It's too intense." I'm like, "Oh, good, right on." And so I look back at Lee and I said, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "Well, let's try it." So I said, "Okay, we're either going to be back in 5 minutes or we're gone."
Yeah.
So we start riding up, and it was a pretty good climb. Nothing crazy, but it was good. But once we got past that, what an epic ride that
Epic.
was!
Epic.
Such a fun ride.
So that,
But it was probably the longest day off road we took.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was the only part that was, that took more time was opening gates, closing gates,
Yeah.
opening
Yeah.
gates. And every time we'd open a gate, we'd get past the guy's ranchero and they'd be waving at us. Hey, welcome
they're
to my
so
land.
happy,
And
right.
like, it's so good to see you. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
It was so cool, man. So cool.
And we really had this impression that we're going to ride this back road and we're going to come in San Javier to this mission, and there's going to be nobody there, right? So we show up, we're riding
Because there was no one there in the video.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
and we're riding. We don't see anybody through this entire mountain pass. We ride into town to
Buzz
San,
Lightyear.
I know, exactly.
San Javier, and it's a carnival, man. There's the massive, like the stage
Huge
is
production.
happening, man. They're having a 3-day festival.
It was the exact same stage that was at the starting line of the Baja 1000.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Same production company.
Yep. So we didn't expect that, but we ran into a local right away. He's chatting it up, and he's like, "I'll watch your bikes for you boys. Go and watch. Go check the show out."
Yeah, watch the bikes.
So cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember any specific instances, but I definitely recall a few moments where on our trip down, we were told like, "Oh yeah, this trail, like,
Oh yeah.
not you guys won't be able to do it."
Yeah.
and we get through there, and it's like, "Fuck yeah, we totally do it!" Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
That was not even that hard. Like, it was, like we've been through harder shit. Like,
think
Lee puts us through harder shit all the time.
Yeah.
We're sweeping like the Bronze Trail.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that people see bikes and they're like, "No, don't go."
Well, I think it's
Especially
funny.
big bikes.
And I also think that adventure biking, the majority, I'm not going to say everybody, the majority of the folks, they're not into the harder shit.
At all. No, you're absolutely right, man. We are the guy, our type of off-road adventure bike riding, we are a rare breed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a good, trust me, I know this from Rally Connex. You shouldn't base your model of your company over this, that you have a very small select base of customers. And we know that, right? But it's so much better.
And doesn't it open up a ton of world for you?
For sure.
To ride. It's
Like
amazing.
we rolled down in this festival and we're coming out of the middle of nowhere, like off the side of the mountain. And all of a sudden there'd be like cops with machine guns.
Right.
You
Tell
know,
us
like,
to slow
hey,
down.
slow down, boys.
Like,
there's
what?
like, what do you mean slow down? Like, and this video showed us that we are going to a desolate area with this big stone church.
Yeah.
Mission, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And it was just the festival, and then we left the festival after we were done. We're like, hey, that we spent a lot of time here because it was that cool.
Yeah.
And we stuck up more Rally Connex stickers. I mean, if anybody is listening to this, good chance somewhere in Baja you're going to see a Rally Connex sticker.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I had a stack like 3 or 5 inches thick. Anyways, they went everywhere. But
San Javier has a few. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And then when we left, this festival was just starting, right? Everyone had just loaded in. They just opened up. Production company is doing the sound check on the drums on the stage and stuff. And now the locals are coming in. And there was a decent line of cars.
They're all riding in on horseback. man.
Horses.
It's so cool.
They pull over on the side of the road, miles and miles out of town on the paved road. And they unload their horses from their trailers like we unload our dirt bikes to go riding.
Oh, nice.
And then happy trails and all the way down. And the cowboys were proper cowboys. And then the cowgirls.
Lee can't
We're-
stop talking about the cowgirls.
No, man. These women were like Amazon queens. 6'2", 6'3", sitting on these horses.
What?
Very big horses, right? And they're full of leather, right? But their faces were all done up because they were going to the festival with these big fancy cowboy hats. Like, and I was just like, I've never seen shit like this before. And then getting back to like how cool this is and how weird it was. when you come across any horses in Canada, anywhere, you pull over the side, you take
they
your helmet
spook.
off, you spook the horses. These crazy fuckers were sitting on the side of the trails, hanging off the side of the horses while they're giving you the twisting grip throttle, like go, make some noise, crack a wheelie type of thing. And we would, and the horses would be like,
don't give a
meh,
shit.
and they're losing their fucking minds.
And they
Again,
would hear the acro on the back of my bike. They were
Oh,
like,
it was so
in
good.
their
That bike
jeans,
sounded
man.
great,
in their
dude.
jeans.
And,
Man.
and every one of the horseback riders had a Takati in their hand.
For sure.
Every
Everyone.
single one
Yeah.
of them. It was epic.
It
was
was
going to be a party.
wicked. Yeah.
We missed it. But I think we rode from there down that twisty road that me and you rode
Okay.
into Loretto. Mm-hmm. And then we got to Loretto pretty early, and I think, went straight to Mulegé, right?
Yes.
Hey.
Mulegé, which you and I didn't see.
No, we didn't go there.
That was a cool town. I think, was that Mulegé back?
There's a bunch, but you know, like
Was Mulegé the town that we met at those other bikers? No.
there's the sign. Hold on.
No, that's not
Oh,
it. That was
blur.
no, it wasn't. Mulegé was the town that we got lost many, many times. Remember?
Oh, Mulele, yeah.
We rode over that
That was
bridge,
that was
under the
so that was
bridge.
another place where the whole everything out on the outside was a complete shithole. Not all everywhere, but where we were. And then all of a sudden this little hole. We're looking for the hotel on Google, and it was like, we're here, but where is this thing? Like the walls are flaking away, spray paint, graffiti, nothing looked great. And this tiny little archway doorway, probably about the size of
Yes.
the garage door here, like a 1-car garage door, and you'd pull into this again oasis yard. Like the ground was marble tile that you could fucking see yourself in. And they're like, "Come on in,
Yeah.
roll our bikes right in there." And I'm throwing the kickstand down this marble. Maybe I should move this somewhere else, right? Kickstand on the marble tile's not so good, especially yours.
Yeah.
The
talking
leaning
about?
tower of KTM on your bike. So, anyways,
You
and
guys
they're like,
are such
yeah.
a bunch of shit talkers.
And they let
Yeah,
us
we
stay
are,
there,
yeah.
and it was awesome. And it's funny because the whole trip, Laura loves cats a lot, and I like them too. And
I don't.
but all
And one cat crawled all over me.
this little kitten, it was so
shit.
adorable that even the Grinch here loved it. Like he was like, he took a picture. He's all this stuff that I wanted to go see. He was like, fuck this, I don't want to see that shit for. And then all of a sudden, like
cats.
I take him there, like the Hollywood sign. He goes, "That was pretty fucking awesome. Oh, that was pretty good. I like cats and I like Hollywood."
No, I
Oh,
didn't
it's
like
all right."
cats.
Yes,
This
you
cat
do.
liked me.
You
Anyway,
loved it.
We rolled into this little town square at Mulegé, and it was pretty cool. Anyways, it was very similar to San Ignacio.
Okay.
Like that kind of square.
Yeah.
And this old lady comes out, goes, "Come in," and just rolled our bikes right in. We didn't even.
She rolled them in?
She said, "Come in."
Yeah, that's
We're
there's the cart.
Yeah,
right there.
is this the hotel? She's "Yep, drive in." We're in the drive in, and so she had us.
Yeah,
But it was a nice place.
She had you.
yeah, they're good at roping you in.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
that's one thing.
yeah.
Like if you going down there all innocent, like they will pull you into the stores.
Yep.
They will make you buy. You have to kind of just like, nah, I'm all right, and just
Yeah.
keep going or
Yeah.
be nice about it.
But it worked out good. That was a good place. And then the next day what did we do? Oh yeah, we drove to. Oh, didn't have a flat in Mulegé.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
to flatten it in a only flatten the whole trip, and it was like a 4-inch nail at a
Right,
gas
yeah.
station parking lot.
Yeah, we fueled up, and then we rode over to this little store, and I'm looking at my bike. I'm like, that's sitting straight up. That seems weird. So then I look at it. I'm like, my tire's flat. Shit. So like NASCAR's, dude. We were just everybody
watching.
There's one dude trying to help us find his wood to prop the bikes up, and we got it changed
Yeah,
in
we
no
go
time.
into the grocery store, into this convenience store, and there's this tiny little stool that probably ran in the family for years, and every child sat on it and done everything. I'm like, "Ma'am, can I borrow your stool to prop this motorcycle up?" She goes, "Yeah, sure, go right ahead. Take it out of the store." It was the hospitality was so great, like it was
Unbelievable, yeah.
amazing. But we put on a show and with that. But I now I'm just starting to think about talking to the listeners again and saying, hey, so riding in Baja, you don't wait in lineups. Lane splitting's a thing, and if you are sitting in traffic waiting, you're looked at like you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like you shouldn't be stopped here in traffic. You should be weaving your way through, making your way to the traffic light, and then probably blowing the traffic light.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we never really talked about, but it's something because I've been all over the place and ridden
Italy.
bikes all over the place. That's lane splitting is just what you do outside of North America.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. And stop signs. That's just a suggestion if there's someone approaching at the exact same time as you. Other than that, you don't stop.
No.
At a stop sign, you roll right through.
Yeah.
Yeah, if all coast is clear, totally cool. Like, right in front of the cops, like everybody,
They don't
not a
care.
problem. Traffic lights, yeah, you want to stop, but I mean, many times we saw people just saying, "Well, it's close is clear,"
Yeah.
and there's a lot of times where you feel as though that you should ride in the shoulder to pass somebody, totally cool, or if you're going through these towns, especially the more poor towns, for lack of a better term. The laneways heading off the side of the paved road are all gravel and they're quite rough, right? And, like where they park in. And so, and it's totally cool. You can, especially us on big dirt bikes, we jump in and hop around and get around construction. Like Google was saying we'd be stuck in traffic for 40 minutes. We got through in 5.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
But just like cruising through these sides. But
I do think I got my flat because we were screwing around in this town and this kid was like, wheelie, and I spun a wheelie and I think I caught a nail. So don't be stupid.
yeah, you got to watch it for the shit on the side of the road.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
a lot of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know, like
There's the stool.
yeah. The rule of thumb I always abide by is do as the locals do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't recall seeing a ton of motorcycles in Baja going down like local bikes. I mean, unless it was a small town, you'd see a few running around. But it's not like other places in the world where like bikes are prevalent.
Yeah.
But the rules are loose in these places is basically what it comes down to, like traffic rules. I mean, and you just have to be, a little savvy about it. Like to go down there and observe the rule of law to the nth degree on the road it's a bit silly.
Yeah. Unless you're in Ontario.
But it's a fascist state. You didn't know that?
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so I think from Moulahay we rode north, which actually we gapped a time zone, which worked out in our benefit.
That was
Remember?
crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So
Didn't know there was a gap. There's a
so
time zone in
North Baja
Yep.
and South Baja has two different. So
No shit.
They don't
South Baja
do the,
doesn't change,
Yeah.
but North does. So when everybody else changed, they
Did we know that going down?
No,
Interesting.
we were ahead of it.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So anyway, we had caught on to, we were going to ride from Moulahay to Bay of LA, right? Mm-hmm.
Is that on Sierra Cortez?
Yep, it is.
Nice. Okay.
And it was this massive off-road section. What was it, 280 kilometers?
Yeah.
280 kilometers of off-road.
Or longer.
Yeah, it might have been more like 3 something. Anyway, so we got on it, and we caught on to a section that was definitely Baja 1000 stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And it was rough going, and it was like, oh man, this is hard going. And then we'd pop out of it, and we were onto our own section. It was beautiful. We had a really great ride. And then we got to another section, and it said, it's a Bay of LA, 120 kilometers. So we thought, okay, well, we're more than halfway there. So we get on that. As soon as we turn on it, it was all Baja 1000 stuff. The entire way to Bay of LA.
Yeah. It was rough.
And it was hard going. And that's when Lee had earlier said on the previous one that there was bicycle tracks.
Yeah.
So they had ridden 120 kilometers to that section from Bay of LA. I don't know how they did it, but here's the hard part about the Baja 1000 section. So it's not only is it rutted, is it's not beat up, but what happens is they chew up the sand and it turns into a silt.
And those mountain bikes are probably fucking it up real good for you too.
Real good. But regardless, it's like it's in your face. So I can be a mile behind Lee or
I know what you mean.
and it's in your face still.
Yeah.
But the worst part is it fills in all the gaps. So you're riding along and there's a 6-inch stone that you don't know. Smack. It's a hard go. Like that was a tough section.
Yeah. I mean, the first day I think it was with Laura. When she was on a little dirt bike, she was ahead of me. And the whoops that the Baja 1000 made in this section of trail were so big and so deep that she would disappear in front of me. and then pop back up.
No shit.
Yeah.
And then disappear and then pop back up. And I was like, oh man, that's like,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not the whoops you want to smash through.
No.
And, but, you know, kind of fast forwarding a little bit, every little small town gave us something special. And it was
Everything did.
really cool. And every mountain pass was something special. And, you know, but what was really neat that I took home that was so heartfelt and warming, and it's really weird to say this, but every little town we stopped in, right, especially if it was along the Baja 1000 route, had so many stickers from all the different travelers and race teams that have been through. So like this one hotel, right? There wasn't a piece of glass that you could look through clearly without having a sticker in the way.
Yeah.
And it was totally cool. Like here, it'd be like, you know, just be a mess.
that
There'd be a
shit off.
bylaw against it, all kinds of shit
Scrape
like
it
that.
off.
Yeah. And it was so freaking cool. Like I could just sit there for hours and read all the different stickers. And then when I pulled out a Rally Connex sticker and I stuck it, and I'm sure you got the same feeling going down with your Rally Point stickers, you put it on there, you know it's staying there, and you've
You're part of the club.
yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. It was really cool. And so if you're going to Baja and
Take stickers.
yeah, stickers that mean something to you. Don't go
yeah.
with a climb sticker or a sponsor sticker, like whatever. Let them go sort that shit out for themselves. But take something like your Rally Point thing was a really cool concept. Like that is your thing. And same with Rally Connex, right? But that was even more special. And when we did see them, he said, "Hey, look, there's where we were." And
Yep.
and we did. And it was too bad because we kept searching and searching and searching for Darren's sticker, and we knew they were, or you knew we were there.
There is one there.
But we couldn't
Yeah,
find
we
it.
found it.
Yeah, I couldn't find it again.
At Coyote
Well,
Cows,
I
right?
did pay him to take it off.
Yeah, that's what it was. No, but getting back to that section of the Baja 1000, the 120 kilometers into Bay of LA, we rode and we rode and we rode and we rode. And we get into town and there's 2 motels in town. And we get to, well, actually there's 3, but we get to the one motel and we stop and there's 3 dirt bikers sitting out, right? And they're drinking beers. And so we start chatting with them and we tell them what we're doing there. And they're like, "You boys look like you need a beer." I'm like, damn right. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
reach into their cooler, give us beers after this long day. You know, we had a couple beers with them. And then we go into the hotel and we're like, "Oh, sorry, there's no rooms." Like, what? So we go next door, we stay in the next door, but the guy said, "If you can get a room next door, come back. We'll have dinner." So we go and get a room next door. We come back, have dinner with these guys in the restaurant at their motel. And so we're having some beers, having dinner. And who walks in?
Chris Birch.
Eric Johnson.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did, man. I
Nice.
look up, I'm like, oh my God.
Jason's
Yeah.
losing his mind. Like, oh my God, look who it is. Like his dead grandmother came back from the grave. And I was like, how does he know anyone that's down here? And then it's the guy that we got our insurance policies
Yeah,
from.
that's
And-
fucking good shit, man.
Yeah,
It's-
and
very
and
good
I
shit.
was like, and we looked at each other and went, there's the Baja magic.
Baja magic. More of it,
like-
man. So cool.
Yeah, Eric Johnson's fucking awesome, man. Like he is.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
Super legit. He's like, we're nobody to him. I mean, fucking, we're a couple dudes with 2 bikes.
Yeah.
We don't bring him a ton of business, but he gives us the fucking time of day
Every
in a
time.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the cool thing was, so we're sitting with these 3 other dudes, right? And we're talking with all of them. And the one dude rides with Justin Strong.
No shit.
Yeah. They know Eric Johnson. Like, so it's just this
course.
tight knit. It's amazing.
Everybody
man.
knows everybody.
Yes.
And
Very
the one
cool.
guy was like, he rode for KTM America.
Yep.
And so we knew a bunch of connections from me with Canada. And it's like, oh, yeah, Florian. I know Florian. Oh, my God. And it was so wild.
Pretty cool,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was cool.
Yep. So
So
where do we go from Bay
well-
of LA?
a bunch of places, but I think we should just start talking about the border.
No, we can't forget Coyote Cows.
We talked about that in the last episode.
Well, okay.
Okay, so Coyote Cows is epic, just like you guys talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys had more dudes there than we did.
Yeah, like we had that group of Americans that were. Oh, so here's something that's nuts, right? So listen to the previous episode, guys. We talked about Coyote Cows.
Yeah.
How cool it is, right? Before we get to the dudes, we're heading up towards Coyote Cows, and I see this stretch of beach.
Right.
Remember the stretch of beach that I was talking about earlier on? And Jason's like, yeah, shut up, no one cares. And
Yeah.
so I'm thinking the same way. I'm like, oh, man, I feel bad for the guy. He's a bit of a loser. He didn't get the beach ride, so I'll take him to a beach. You know? Wah, wah, wah. You know, so I'm like, okay, I'm looking up the side of the highway. Yeah, that looks like a beach. Okay, there's a road. There's like a gravel, or there's a sandy path. Okay, come on, man. Let's go. We'll go to the beach. We'll go ride down the beach. I'm pretty sure it's a big, long beach. We get there. Well, it's not. It's this massive, like, you know,
Bluff.
100-foot
It's a
bluff.
cliff, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
cliff. Like there's a photo in your images. It probably was it, or close to it. So we get out there, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. I thought this might be a beach, and we're sitting on the edge of a cliff. And then we look down, and Jason's like, hey, look, dolphins. And the waves are coming in. It's the Pacific side, so they're big waves. And they're like, wait a minute, there's a lot of dolphins. Wait a minute, there's a shit ton of dolphins. And they
man.
must have been like 60 of them
Playing
everywhere.
right
playing.
there in front of
Oh,
us.
shit.
Yeah.
So
and then
epic,
Jason's like,
man.
oh my God, there's a whale.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, look, a double rainbow. And like, it was crazy.
Did you guys like start crying and hug each
Yeah,
other?
we did.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
a lot of that shit,
Yeah,
man. We really
yeah.
did. We bonded.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was like,
Pretty epic,
wow.
though, to see that many seals just playing. Or and
seals.
dolphins. Oh,
And penguins.
whatever. Dolphins.
Fuck, what kind of peyote were you guys smoking?
Whatever.
So when
it's all good.
we got the coyote cows, the owner, Rick, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're telling Rick that we saw these. He goes, oh, I see dolphins every day, but what you saw was really rare.
Yeah. You don't see that
You
many
don't see
in
that.
one. Yeah.
And they were schooling through because they disappeared about as fast as they appeared, right?
Yep. Yep. They came. There must have been feed there. The birds were diving, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden they were
Wow,
all
that's
gone.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Take your time
Pretty
out
rare.
there to walk a beach too. The stuff that Laura found and we discovered walking along the beach. Like there was this one beach we named it Death Beach. I think it was just like skeletons of everything.
Yeah.
You know, like it was crazy, but it was so neat because you don't see that anywhere around here. And so coyote cows was
I used
awesome.
to see that Lake Ontario in the 80s.
Yeah, different
Yeah.
kind of
Death
death.
beach.
You know what I mean?
It's fucking dead fish as far as you can see.
So these guys at Coyote Cows, like what, 18 of them maybe or something,
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
16.
Yeah.
They did a tour. I don't remember the name of the company, and it's probably best that I don't say what it is. But there was a tour, and then they came in. And I walked out, just got freshened up. I'm like, holy shit! Look at this circle jerk. Look at all these guys. This is amazing. So they're like, I don't know why I said that. Whatever. It was funny. Awkward
You want to
moment.
come join?
Yeah, let's go to circle jerk, everybody. So they're all heading off dirt bike circle jerk. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Different than a hockey one, right, Scott? So, we talk with these guys, and they're all pretty cool cats, and they get on their bikes. They're going for a night ride, and they head off, and then they come back. And two of them came back super early because the guy had a bad crash, wound up breaking his collarbone and part of his shoulder and a rib, and it was a mess. And where am I going with this? So the guys came back, and and then I started talking with them, and I said, hey, so this is like we have a really hard time finding bikes for rent. Well, you got to come with us. Well, we don't want to go with you. We're pretty capable. We just want to rent a bike. No, you have to come with us on this tour. And these guys were what, like a 5-day, 6-day tour?
5, I think.
Something like that. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I went over and I asked, so what does the tour cost? And they're on Huskies.
Yeah.
And KTMs and nice bikes, like 350s, and there might have been a 500 here and there. And I say, yeah, it was $6,000 US. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
$6,000 US and you're staying in a fucking hostel?
Yeah.
As cool as this is, like, really? Mm-hmm. And I didn't say that to them. This is going through my head. I said it to Jason afterwards. We were sitting there. I said, this is not like $6,000. It made me really think, maybe we should start a business in Baja, Mexico. At a Coyote Cows.
No shit.
Stay at a hostel.
But I mean, I later on, when the flight home, we were talking about it a bit and going, yeah, I could see the cost involved in the repair. And a lot of the guys didn't know how to ride.
Yeah.
Like they rid, but not like us. Like
Well, that's just it. Like if the bike's included, that's a big chunk of the cost.
yeah, huge. Yeah. So, but it wasn't that like affordable, cheap Baja, everything that we've been hearing about. This was quite expensive. So I was like, wow. And but they're great cats to hang with. And
Man, we had a lot of laughs with those guys.
did we ever?
Oh my god, probably 3 hours of nonstop laughter.
Yeah.
Everybody went around the table and spoke and actually Rick came out and lit a wicked bonfire for us.
Yep.
Which he didn't for us when we were there, but
Well, there was only 2 dudes.
Yeah,
There was like fucking
exactly.
700 guys there laughing their asses off, drinking.
But the truth is, he actually I'm like, Rick, you want to light a fire? He's like, in due time. Like it's the way it's him or nothing. Man.
was interesting.
guy.
Yeah, he's
Because
hilarious.
I don't know what Rick was going on about, but at the beginning, he was quite cold to me.
Yeah.
And then
He
and
needs to figure you out.
Well, and then we thought about that, and then Jason told me a story that's like, yeah, Rick and Jason were kind of like, not Rick and Jason, what am I saying? Rick and John. John wasn't, he was like, this guy's kind of an asshole. A little bit like here and there, right?
I didn't say it to his face.
No, I know you didn't say it to his face, but it's like he has a bit of that persona that first like, this is going to be tough to warm up to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he thought I was you. So he's like really up in my bonnet at first. So I'm asking him all these questions, and he's giving me the face like, I've already talked to you before, asshole. What are you doing? What are you doing? So I was trying to figure out what's going on, and then Jason
No,
tells
I
me
think
the
he's
story.
just like that.
Yeah,
Really?
he is
Yeah,
like
he's just
that.
like
He's a
that.
Were you
funny
not
dude,
getting?
man.
Did you get along with him?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
or
we got along fine.
Oh,
It's
okay,
just-
because-
I just was picking up his vibe. Like he was just like a particular
Cold.
guy.
yeah, not great to approach it immediately.
No,
at
like
all.
it's not like, hey, buddy, what's going on? It's like he's not that guy. It's like
No.
you need to like figure him out and
It's on his time.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then he kind of turned our time.
Yeah.
A little
No,
bit.
he was
and he was
okay.
like, "This-
Yeah.
you guys are all right. I'm only joking, by the way, with the whole, like, thought it was you. But
Such an asshole. eh?
he was,
An asshole.
well, he was like with Jason, too. Like, which is like, so, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I had to fix shitter today. Just weird. And then, like, we had just started warming up to this guy.
man.
And then Jason goes downstairs to take a piss in the urinal, and it starts backing up. And Jason, because he runs the campground here, he knows what that means. He's like, oh, this isn't good.
Not good.
This sucks. So he goes up, he goes, hey, Rick. Your toilet's fucked.
You got a bit of a problem here. He's like,
we got
oh,
an
no.
issue. So I look over like,
Oh,
okay.
man.
So Rick's like, all right, everybody, it's a situation. I can get it under control. Like, it was really weird. Like, and they like, no one use the bathroom downstairs. You guys don't use the bathroom downstairs.
Poo outside.
Yeah, go anywhere. Go shit in trailer or in the garage. You use the
Yeah, I had to
bathroom
shit
in the garage.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was just interesting. But yeah, there was lots more to Coyote Cows, but you have to go there.
Great place.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean,
Loved
yeah, like we make fun of the fact that he's a particular guy, but he's actually a good dude.
He is. Yeah.
Like
you know what really makes that place even cooler is his wife. So he has this
Ty.
Thai wife.
yeah what's a Thai? Like Thai?
Yeah, she's Thai.
Yeah. And so she runs the kitchen and probably does a lot of other stuff.
Cleaning.
Yeah,
Cooking.
and
Thai massage.
and she's
Thai massage.
Thai massage. Yep, and she does an incredible job at them all.
No happy ending.
No. One of the
Found that
guys.
out,
One of the
yeah.
guys apparently at the end of his massage thought it was appropriate to flip over and get a happy ending, and she lost her fucking mind on him. Anyways, so to make that story really quick,
Yeah.
but
glad we
she
did,
made the
actually.
best food, and she was great. But Jason, what was it you told me? You had left the year before. Oh yeah.
You guys come back. You make my heart go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
boom,
you make
boom.
my heart go boom, boom, boom. So he told me the story, and I'm laughing. And this is before I'm even there. We roll in. She comes out. She is exactly the way he described her.
yeah.
And so I knew it was her. And I went, guess who? The guy that makes your heart go boom, 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 boom. she laughs her ass off. And she's looking at it, and she knows it's him.
Yeah.
Like, this is the dude. And we just clicked really well.
she
Like,
was awesome.
this lady was so fun, man.
Hilarious.
And,
Good cook, dude. Holy.
and we were so happy to be able to drink water like out of a glass that came from a pitcher, that came from a filtered, like, oh, it was like, thank God. It was about as American it was going to get until we got into the States.
Yeah.
And it was at that point in time in the trip with being sick and the long rides and the weird ass towns here and there. It was quite welcoming. It was a good last stop.
Yeah, it was great. And we were supposed to actually the next day ride another pass to Mexicali, which was going to be, I think, a 300-kilometer off-road day or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big day. Yeah,
it was a big
planned,
day.
Yeah.
But we get up in the morning and your chain is so stretched out, dude.
Yeah.
It's not going to make it.
And we started having fuel delivery issues.
Is not working great. We're like, oh no, I guess. So we just stuck to the highway, which
You
turned
know
out
what?
okay.
Casey was obviously riding the shit out of my bike.
I feel like Casey rode the shit out of your
Right?
bike, right? It wasn't you.
This explains
Yep.
everything.
It does, actually, yeah.
I'm going to get on the phone with Casey right now.
Casey, come on, bro.
You son of a bitch.
The axle blocks were on backwards. They were maxed right the fuck out. The bolts are just like they're almost hanging out of the swing arm.
To be fair, though, when we spoke before your trip, I said it may need a chain.
I don't remember, but it didn't matter. Like, it was fine. That wasn't, honestly, it was like the chain was a problem because we're like, hey, we have nothing if we're in the middle of nowhere. And we just came from the middle of nowhere and we know what it's like to get stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Well, if the blocks are maxed out, you just knock it down by a loop and then you're fucking good.
Yeah, right.
Take a link
And then
out.
we had talked to Eric and we started asking Eric from Ride Baja, the insurance guy that we were talking about earlier on.
Yeah.
So how good does the InReach SOS button or a spot SOS button work? He goes, they'll eventually come.
And he said, yeah, they'll get the body.
Yeah. So we're like,
They'll come for the body. you
we
know?
should probably stay to the more populated areas. And it worked out great.
Oh, it did.
I'm not
Besides
a road
running
guy.
through Ensenada,
Yeah.
we once we got through Ensenada, we rode that mountain pass that me and you
Oh,
rode.
yeah.
What an epic
It's
ride
good.
that is.
It's
The
good.
best toll road in the world.
Yeah, it was worth whatever
Whatever that
toll
cost.
it was. Yeah,
Could have been $100. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was very good.
And then we got to the border.
Early in the day too, actually.
Yeah, and we're now at this point, much like yourself when you were coming down, you were using Google for the road sections and then off-road on the GPS. So I'm using the Google, and I'm like, okay, so we're not going to, was it T-Gate? No, what's the name of the border that we decided to avoid?
Aguadones.
No.
You go.
The one north, straight north of Ensenada.
Tecate?
Oh, Tecate.
Tecate,
Yeah. We're going to Mexico.
Mexicali, because
Yeah.
it was going to be better.
Yeah.
Less of a hassle or whatever, the bullshit that was being spilled to us. So we went there, and when I punched in Google to the Mexicali border, it navigated as the border office, like where you'd cross by foot. So we roll into town. The town's hopping. It's busy.
Yeah,
like
it is.
there's things going everywhere, and there's sirens, and there's cars honking. And it's like, oh, we're in Toronto. Perfect. Right?
Yeah.
So we roll up, and we take this side street, and then it hangs a sharp left, and we're stuck in traffic for a while to get to what we thought was going to be the border crossing.
Not a single sign. Not a single sign saying to
course.
USA. Like,
No,
nothing.
Nothing. Even when we got to the proper border, there was still nothing.
No.
And then there's this like 25-foot wall, metal wall with slats in about that wide.
Yeah,
So
it's a Trump wall.
Yep.
I guess so, pretty much. And on the top of this wall, we'd see lots of walls when we were down there with barbed wire. This was razor wire.
Oh, yeah.
And this was like 3-foot loops of razor wire, huge
Yeah.
pieces. Like there's this fucking maniac who's on this janky ladder, homemade ladder, that he's climbing to the top, and he's trying to yank the razor wire down from the top of the
Yeah.
fence.
As we're riding by.
Yeah, while his buddy, what
Yep.
was he carrying? Oh, Cindy
Had rope
Loppers,
and
some
loppers,
loppers.
yeah.
Right, and on the other side of the wall is the U.S. border guard in a truck, woo, 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 pointing guns at these guys. Right, like fuck off, get off the wall. You're not coming over. And these guys are like, we do this every day. This is fun.
Yeah, they really didn't care. It was
But we were
wild.
so shocked. We didn't even think about pulling our phones out to get this on. Like, this is the one thing we should have got, we never got.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, the jig is up. So he's trying to pull his ladder off this 25-foot fence. It's not coming. He's catching more barbed wire. He finally gets it down, folds it in half, throws it onto the side of the sidewalk. Him and buddy are like, well, jig is up. Well, let's go. Start walking down. The border guard turns his sirens off on the other side of the fence and starts driving away. And me and Jason are in the communicators going, Oh, it's a good thing we got all that paperwork and sorted out, before we got to this border, because it's going to be crazy. So again, like the last episode, we were talking about when I approach the border in Niagara Falls or New York or whatever, it's a very proper lineup and it's very structured. You look ahead, you take your hat off, sunglasses off, your passport's already sitting there, and you still got 30 minutes before you hit the border, right?
Yeah.
You're ready to cross, and you've got all your stories straight and however much money you spent. You pull up, and the border guard's like, where have you been? What's your citizenship? Why were you here? Okay, pull
How
over
much
there.
blow did you do, and how many hookers did you screw?
Right, how much? Yeah, fucking all the shit. So... And there's nothing but just cars lining up. So we, Jason, right? We're talking the whole time. That's how great. By the way, Cardo, well done on your communicators, man.
Works good. Yeah,
Worked really good. We used the Pack Talk Edges. It was awesome. Anyways, as we're rolling up to the border, there's this massive long lineup of cars. And it was Rick at the Coyote Cows that said, you don't wait in line on motorcycles in Mexico. You go by.
yeah.
Whether it's a sidewalk, whether it's the ditch, and you just go by. There's this whole open lane on the left-hand side with no cars in it.
Figured it out, man.
And then cars lined up in the right lane. And we're like, let's jump in this left lane.
Like a kilometer
Worth.
Yeah. There's all these cars, and we're just riding like normal.
So now we can actually see the border walls.
Yeah.
Or like not the walls, but the gates, right?
Yep.
And then
There's a pre-border dude. I don't know what his job was.
yeah, just the pre-border stuff.
Yeah.
like just,
He's like, you got your passport? I was like, yep. What are you guys doing? I'm like, we're just riding. Where you come from? He's like, you guys are fucked up. Go ahead.
yeah. And he's only like 250, he was only 100 yards to the actual border guard guy.
Yeah.
But before that, it's nothing but Mexicans trying to sell their tchotchke.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're trying to sell their like light up palm tree, sets. And like I'm down on my luck and my daughter's sick and give me your money signs and like just nonstop with blasting ghetto blasters, pumping their music. So this whole like structured, be polite and be proper border type
Oh, yeah.
feel that we're
Gone.
not there.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
At all. So, and usually when I talk to a border guard, I'm very proper. I feel kind of, even if, you just feel uncomfortable because you hear the horror stories these guys do. And if you're not polite and right, they just fuck you over. So we pull up, we see the pre-border guard guy. He's like, oh, he's just, some friendly dude. Okay, boys, get along. Yeah. So he sends us up and we roll up and we're like, okay, should we roll up together? Should we roll up separate? I said, no, we're traveling together. Let's roll up together. Right? I think it'd be like we would if we were in a car.
Yeah, exactly.
So we pull up together. Helmets are coming off. And it's just this young fella, American. Young fella comes out and he's like, hi guys, how's it going? And he's like really nonchalant with us, right? And I've got all that paperwork that I made you go through,
Yep.
right? And all that shit, so I could take your bike over the border, right? And and the guy's like, yeah. So where are you coming from? What are you doing? And Jason, the whole time, sorry, Jason, I'm gonna poke some fun at you.
Oh, boy.
Anytime the whole trip that Jason, they say, so where are you coming from? The same fucking story. I rode all the way from Ontario and I went across the United States and down to Baja, and now we're making our way back. And the whole time he's saying
very
that,
accurate.
right? The guys are looking at me going, you did the same thing? I'm like, yeah, sure I did. Yep, you bet. Like after a while, I got sick and tired of saying, no, it was another guy that I know. It's his bike. It's not my bike. And I'm doing this. And now I'm picking it up and going here. And the fucking story went on and on and on forever. So Jason would always say that. And it was nice because I get it. It's an accolade and you should say it.
But dude, like it's like serious street cred down there.
Oh, yeah. So he's
yeah.
telling us the fucking border guard. Right? So the border guard says to us, aren't you guys tired? Isn't it hard work? And I just look over and go, fuck yes, it is. Like I literally swear to the guy. Fuck yes. And he laughs. He gets a Google. And I literally had to force my passport to him for him to look at it.
He didn't care.
He didn't care. He's like, boys, have a great day. Off you go. Like, he didn't care what we... He asked if we bought any souvenirs. Yeah, but I sent him home with my girlfriend. But it was a cool
man.
border crossing.
Yep.
No word without a lie. Like every time I've gone back into gone out of the United States, back into Canada, It's like the U.S. side is always the side that's the least worrisome.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going into the U.S. They're totally cool, and it's always been that way.
Yeah.
And like, you come back to Canada, like, what the fuck you doing? Why'd you leave Canada? It's so great here. What do you fucking? You hate Canada? You Canada hater?
Yeah.
You hate moose? You hate maple syrup? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I've had a few trips going in the States where like, why are you coming here? Pull over. We're gonna check you out and find out what you're doing. But
Yeah.
and then we got into the last part of this trip, and I'll try to make this quick. But it was it was a really good highlight, actually. I really enjoyed it. And like you guys said, a lot of your riding through the States before you got to Mexico was pretty wicked. So we had gone through the border, stayed close to the border in the States, and then our plan was to go riding through the mountains. And we just looked at Google Earth and found the most squiggly roads we could and to stitch it all together. Unannounced to us, what was the height? Was it 6,500 meters? It was insanely high.
Yeah, it was high. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was
I don't
up
remember
there.
exactly, but it was high, yeah.
Super high. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was insane. Like whole another climate. And there was ski hills on top of the mountains. But those hills going through that portion of California, do you remember the name?
Big Bear?
Big Bear
Big Bear
Lake or
Lake.
something like that.
That's a serious area.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it is,
wicked.
yeah.
It's a bunch of popular ski hills are there.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so we had gone through and we hit snow, but not like just plowed on the side of the ski hills and tiny little remnants of the shady areas in the road.
Yeah.
And it was like those are the best paved,
cool.
curvy roads I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was this morning. I was looking at a map of California, and it was I think it was on Pinterest or something like that, and it was like a vintage map or something like that. But it really, you know how like the old vintage maps, they used to have a really good topography on them, and I didn't realize up until this point that there's a giant fucking bowl in the middle of that state.
Oh,
It's flatland.
Oh,
And
yeah.
So basically, if you were the ocean, you would go in via San Diego and you would flood that entire flatland, and it would be an inland lake.
We rode
for
that,
almost
man.
the-
Remember, there was mountains all around
Yeah.
us that first day.
And
oh,
then-
was that?
So
Yeah.
the mountains back up onto the east side of the state.
There's mountains.
So that
everywhere.
leads me into this
everywhere.
weird shit here. I'm pretty sure is where you're talking about. This was called Slab Town,
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, it's a
And
weird little
Slab
artist
City.
community.
Slab City, big religious community. Now these pictures that you'll probably be seeing online here, it was really cute and cool and painted up. That's a massive pile of sand that they poured concrete over and they hardened it and then they painted it. There's more photos to see, but
You're right. That's the same thing he's doing in the other picture.
yeah, like animating Jason here on the pictures. Anyways, and then just outside of that is the real Slab Town, and it was
A shithole.
oh man, burnt trailers, burnt cars, like aggressively burnt tires, burnt. And then there'd be like this big pink trailer called the Mrs. Pink Hippo. We could just imagine what was going on in there, and her fence was old tires buried in the ground and cut off, and it was like crazy. And the hippies, I mean, these were dirty hippies.
That's what meth does to you, man.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
like
yeah.
some of these dudes look they haven't showered in like
They're beating the
6,
system,
7
though, I
years.
think.
What's that?
They're beating the system.
Oh yeah,
They're not
beating it.
paying taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're winning.
Yeah,
I
they're winning.
felt so clean.
Oh,
like
my
we
God.
like, and we were
caught a
dirty from riding.
disease
Yeah.
on the way through. Yeah.
Like we brought minimal clothes with us. Like I was probably on my third day of the same pair of underwear at that point, and I
Whoa.
felt really good going through there. Anyhow,
So shout out to Slabtown.
yeah,
Slab Town is the
Must-see.
place to be. You have to go check it out, man.
Yeah.
And then after that, that was probably that flat.
That was, yeah. And then we rode around that one lake right on the Salton Sea.
Salton Sea.
We
Salton
rode around the
Sea.
Salton Sea, and
Yeah.
then we got into the mountains.
That's a serious meth area.
Is it?
Oh, big
Oh
time.
well, that's
Yeah.
what it was,
Huge.
man.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah.
It was meth, flatland, or a train.
Yeah.
A big train.
Yeah.
That'd be it.
But then we got into the mountains, and what a epic
wow.
ride that was, man. Mm-hmm. And then we stayed up, so we got into the Big Bear Lake, and it was getting later in the day, and your bike was acting up a bit, and it was getting cooler.
Because I
actually.
wasn't there. It's grumpy.
Honestly, there was many times like, all we got to do is get this thing to the shipping depot.
That's right.
Like
Just
it
tomorrow.
got pretty rough at
Yeah.
one point,
Yeah.
but it made it. Like
Yeah.
it's a fuel pump. It just deciding to kick itself out. But there was times where we were riding along. I couldn't get any more than an eighth of a turn of throttle and it'd start falling on its face, and then we'd pull over.
Yeah.
And then we'd let it cool or stop. I guess maybe the motor was getting a little worked, and all of a sudden, boom, back to life, full power. Yes, this is awesome. And getting up to speed, all that was good in the world. And then we started thinking maybe it couldn't. It's a whole other story I don't want to get into, but the bike got us there. Hail KTM, awesome. So,
Anyways, back to Big Bear Lake.
Yeah, Big Bear.
Whatever it was called. We got there and we found a brewery, which I always like a brewery.
Weird.
Yeah, totally.
So
Cheers, by the way.
Yeah, cheers. We stopped there and we have beers, obviously, and some burgers. Well, not burgers because they don't eat burgers anymore. No
I had a
burgers.
burger. I was jonesing for
he
an
had a
American
burger.
cheeseburger.
Yeah. I
It
had a
was so
sandwich.
good.
Anyways, we were sitting there and this dude singing, and it was just felt so perfect. We're like, we better stay here tonight. So we found in its off season, we found a place for dirt cheap.
It was great.
Yeah.
And a beautiful place.
Yeah. And then we wake up the next morning, it was -5 or something, freezing cold. But we only had, I think, what was it, an hour to get to the shipping depot or something?
Yeah, it wasn't very far.
No. So we wake up, get warm. Well, your bike's not starting in the morning.
Yeah, I woke up the entire place.
Yeah.
That battery proved itself
He actually walked into somebody else's,
by accident.
which turned out to be a savior because he then knew what was happening. He offered us a strap.
Yeah.
And I towed your bike all around this beautiful town.
No shit.
Yeah, trying to bump start it.
We
And
got
eventually we got it running.
It's
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
Yeah. So then it fired up and we rode it to the shipping depot, which was an awesome spot. Once
Yeah.
we found it, right, we rolled right in, drove our bikes right up into this big storage building.
But that was a whole nother part of the adventure too. Like we thought it was going to San Diego for a while there,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, this is going to Los Angeles," and we're like, well,
It's
"That's
still
a
2 hours.
big difference."
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Well, the shipping depot's here,"
We actually dropped it off in Ontario.
and we're like, "Oh yeah, Ontario, California,
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Dude, it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get to the airport. How are we going to do this?
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to pay for a taxi." So we dropped the bikes off, and then
So we had the night before we actually had figured out we're going to get an enterprise rental car.
Sure.
It's $100 a day for
Yep.
a cheap little car.
yeah,
They're going to pick us up at the trucking depot. They're going to drive us back to the rental place, sort us out with a car. We're going to drive around Los Angeles a little bit, and then the next day we drop it off at the airport. Easy,
Right,
And,
yeah.
and it turned out great. The guy picked us up. He was a super cool dude. He recently crashed his motorcycle, so we had some good talks.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Anyway, so he drives us back, and we get there, and we're getting set up, and he said, "So you just want a cheap little car?" We're like, "Yeah,
I'm like, cheapest one you got.
Yeah,
We're out of money.
yeah,
now.
we're out of cash. We
Yeah.
just want the cheapest one you have." So, but Lee also, there was a Dodge Charger in the parking lot. He's
Beautiful
like,
Dodge.
Yeah, I saw that.
we would take that if you know if you want us to. or
I didn't even
whatever."
think it was a rental car company because it had Arizona plates on it. I thought
Yeah.
it was just some dude.
Yeah.
And it was a nice car. Anyway, so he's like, "Okay, guys, have a seat. We'll sort you out." So we're sitting there shooting the shit. And this lady comes up. She goes, "Well, I'll take you to your car." And she takes us out to this Dodge Charger.
No shit.
Hemi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it was
RT
proper.
model. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a Hellcat or anything, but it was
Yeah. No, I know which one you're talking
powerful
about. Yeah,
car.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she sets us up. She did check the tread depth, you know. Make sure-
Fucking Jason,
Hilarious.
man. Like, and this when you got on, it was like your bike. When you got on the gas, it was like it commanded for more.
It liked it.
Like it sounded so good, and there's all these buttons in the sport mode and
Oh, man.
traction control and burnout drag strip mode, all this stuff. And so there's a few times we're driving, and Jason's just like punch it right. It's like he's like, and then all of a sudden I'm like, so. We're going to Los Angeles, right? Like, that's Hollywood. Like, we got to go see the Hollywood sign. It's like, oh, fucking Hollywood sign. Okay. All
I
right.
really didn't care.
For but you loved it.
It turned out it was cool. You know.
It would turn out great because we're driving up through the Hollywood Hills where all like the big rich people
yeah.
are, and he's
In
just
the right
like
car.
whatever he can step on, he's. I'm trying to take a picture of the Hollywood sign. Meanwhile, I'm taking a picture of the fucking moon. So it's way back in the car.
Hang on.
So all's good in the world. Oh yeah. So that's the other thing, right? I'm like, okay, cool, rental car. Jay, you know what? I got this. I'll book it. So I call up. I'm trying to book the car over the phone. And like, yeah, okay, Mr. Martin, no problem. Your driver's license number, please. Yeah, no problem. It's my driver's license. Yeah. And the expiry date? November the 20th, 1923. I mean, sorry, 2023. It's expired. So I don't have a valid driver's license this whole fucking trip. like, what's going on? I said to Jason, dude, you're going to have to book this, right? He's like, okay, I guess so. And then when we get in the charge, he goes, so what's it like not having a driver's license?
Didn't even offer.
So the last morning after, and so it was great because we went to Hollywood Sign, we saw the observatory, we went to Sunset Strip, we saw like the big movie theater where they launched Star Wars.
Yeah.
And there was a Wookiee outside and Iron Man, and there was all that shit you see in the movies. And the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and we stopped by this great train car with hot dogs and hamburgers, and it's just like, yeah, you knew like the band Poison hung out here, and like Johnny Depp. Oh, this I'm geeking out, right? Mm-hmm. And then I was like, we turn around, we're starting to head over to a hotel by the airport, and we're driving through Beverly Hills. I'm like, no fucking way, this is epic! Like this is Americana to the max. We saw Mel's Diner, everything.
Yeah.
And we get there and we sleep and we wake up the next morning and I don't know what Jason, something crawled up his ass. He was ready. He was on fire. We get to the intersection. It's pretty much the last major turn through a big intersection. And he just tromps on it, hangs the back sideways like we were Bo and Luke Duke in this Charger. He's spinning the wheels and I'm just like, I'm totally cool with it. I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm like, he's telling me these stories about rolling his truck and when he's a kid and all these things.
Like while he's saying inside.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
Did I
much.
ever tell you that time I rode a truck?
It was a lot of fun in
We
that
left
car.
a lot of rubber on that
Yeah.
intersection.
That's why she took the trip depth.
That's
much.
you did, yeah. But
And
the
I'm
nice
just
thing
like-
is at the airport they did not check it again.
no.
So we were good.
No.
Good.
And I was like, I'm so glad my license expired. It's your booking. This is all on you. And then, it's funny too, because again, we were like short on money at the end of the trip. So the lady's like, would you like to buy the extra insurance? Like, no, it's okay. We don't need the extra
Don't need
insurance.
it. Yeah. We're good drivers. We made it this far.
Yeah. Well, it's a little hectic in California. And we're like,
Don't worry.
sure. Okay.
Yep.
And then, we got on the plane, came home, and
Here we are.
we said our goodbyes, and now we're doing this. It was awesome.
It was a good trip.
Thank you, John, for letting me take your
fuck
bike.
dude, man. I'm super happy you guys were able to do it. I won't say I was envious because
You were. Just say it.
Not really. I mean, I really wanted you guys to have a really good trip, and I was glad that the bike was getting ridden up, and it's awesome, man. I mean,
thank you.
The fact that it's Lee doing it and not some fucking random.
Like Darren Rideout or something.
Seriously.
I will say this
Just
though,
kidding, Darren.
when
Just kidding.
when he found your airbox full of sand, he was the right dude to take care of it. 'cause
Yeah, exactly.
He cleaned it to factory spec. I'm not joking.
Wow, it's funny you say that because I remember like when you sent me that picture, I'm like, you know what, Sandra, Lee's the right guy. To be riding my bike.
Thanks, man. I was on the phone with KTM Canada too for a while, asking like, what is this? What could
Is this bike fucked or
yeah?
Should I be riding this at this point?
So
But
we
no,
did a bunch
we did
of we did it.
Yeah, and it was
hopefully you
good.
didn't pick up another bee on the way up?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it has the paper air filter. In
With
it.
that, all that said, though, we still don't know where the bikes are.
that's
We
right.
haven't picked them up in
That's
Burlington
true,
yet.
yeah. No, they're
And it
on
was
the
a
way.
little weird.
That's
I
good.
mean, I will definitely. I trust Tim Lett, for setting us up with that. But when we got there, and the guy said, "Yeah, just leave the keys in the ignition." Okay, see you later.
That was the wrong move. I felt weird about that a day later. I'm like, should we have left the keys in the ignition?
Sure, it's fine.
There it goes. That was like me saying to your bike, "This is it. It's gone."
Goodbye.
And in 5, 4.
What's weird, like they're not answering the emails anymore.
One of them took right off. The other one we can't fucking start.
That's weird. Yeah, there's still one in transit. Yeah,
Well, laddies,
yeah.
that's an epic trip.
That was a good trip.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks everybody, man.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming
So-
with me, Lee. Thanks, John, for letting Lee do that. And it
And
was
thanks
good.
to our studio audience today. Let's give yourselves a hand.
Yeah.
This was recorded in front of a live studio audience.
If you would also like to be part of the live studio audience, just email us at valleyrally.com.
Perfect.
Right on,
See you
boys.
guys on the trails.
Okay.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.